get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Extremely careless.
Email system was breached by hostile actors.
Gross negligence.
Hillary Clinton put our national security at risk, and she's still lying.
Director Comey said that my answers were truthful.
That's not true.
Even the Washington Post says Hillary Clinton lied, comparing her to Pinocchio.
I may have short-circuited it, and for that,
Careless, reckless, crooked, putting her interests ahead of national security. Don't let Hillary Clinton do it again.
Calm down.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and
Carrie Smith.
Tell me, what are you disgusted with?
What was that?
You know what that is? It's lies and liars. Who's been lying to you, Maggie? Your wife been lying to you? No, not one lie, not one person, the whole thing. What's the matter? You got a headache? No, I'm just trying. You're just trying to concentrate, but you can't, because your brain is soaked with liquor. Mendacity. Look at all the lies that I got to put up with. Pretenses, hypocrisy. Pretended like I care for Big Mama. I haven't been able to stand that woman in 40 years. Boy, I've lived with mendacity. Now, why can't you live with it? You've got to live with it. There's nothing to live with but mendacity. Is there?
so there you
Okay,
go.
what was that all
There's
about?
a clip from A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof with Paul Newman in it.
Oh, yeah, I haven't really...
For those of you baby boomers out there, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm talking about mendacity. So today is August 7th, 2016. If you're listening to us on demand, you would be on iHeartRadio.com, or you could find a short link to it. It's iHeart.smithradio.com. You can also go to Smith Radio, SMYTH radio.com, and see all the different links. You can go to iHeart from there, listen on demand. You can listen live on Sunday evenings, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also see Breitbart's news feed as well as Smith Radio's blog, which is Sick Bias. See the news feed there, and keep in touch with all the latest videos, all the information that we've got going on with this 2016 election campaign cycle. And if you want to be a part of the show, call in Gruccifer, if you're listening, buddy. And I'm talking about Gruccifer 2.0, that is, folks. If you're listening, give a call, 513. Oh, well, hold it back up. If you're international calling, you want to dial 1.
Oh, you don't do that if you're local.
No. But if you're international, you have to dial the 1. Be 1-513-888-1538. And do you know why America, our phone numbers are the number 1? Like it's 1-513. Do you know?
I imagine because we're the first ones to...
That's right.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
right. Because I was told that the Ruskies back in the Soviet Union days told everybody that they were the first at everything.
Yeah, North Korea apparently is telling all their children as well that they are first at everything, and America stole all their ingenuity.
Just be honest. Okay, so we got to do some housekeeping really quick.
Yeah.
What you're probably hearing is a little bit of a different sound on your show this week. And we are between studios. We're actually in our new studio. Thanks to the success of us getting the message out to you, we have had to upgrade and move up and on into greener pastures. And right now, our studio is just well put together to throw together a show for you today. So please indulge us and just forgive us for some pretty horrendous sound quality, mainly a little bit of possible reverb, maybe a little bit of static here and there, maybe a hum in the background. But most importantly, apologize for the echoes. We're pretty much in a non-soundproof room at this point, but everything will be back to normal next week so you guys can enjoy a little bit higher quality sound.
And it's all about the message.
Right. That's the thing. If you can suffer through the quality of the production, you will see that you are getting top-notch commentary on politics for the week. And it is Sunday. It is August 7th, and you are going to hear some good stuff. What happened this week, Brian?
Well, I mean, we could start with let's just start with the big news of the week. The thing that really really grinds my gears is mendacity. The lies and all the lies. Do we really have to live with all these lies?
Are you talking about the lies about the lies?
The lies about the lies. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the $400 million ransom. This is just, it's beyond comprehension, folks, what Obama does, has been able to do, continues to do, and nobody stops him, nobody confronts him, nobody has anything to say about it, mum's the word. However, apparently some politicians up on Capitol Hill this week said, we're very angry. We are so angry at Obama. We're angry.
Well, let's give them a background real quick. So back in January, we had some hostages in Iran miraculously released for no reason, right? They were just released out of Iran's goodness of their heart.
Back up a little, just a titsy bit further.
Okay.
John Kerry negotiating the Iran payoff, which is the nuke deal. He comes back to America to do a presser, and they say, hey, did you guys talk about the hostages at all?
Oh, well, hold on. Can I stop you right there? By the way, this is not anything that I prepped. This is actually my memory being jogged right now. And for those of you who pay close attention to politics like we do, your memory will be jogged as well if you've been paying attention. One of the biggest critiques of the Iran deal for the nukes was that we didn't get any hostages back.
No.
And that was never answered because we didn't get hostages back.
No.
But lo and behold, January rolls around and apparently some hostages were released, right?
Yes.
And fast forward all the way today, we find out that the same day, coincidentally, I mean, it's a 1 in 365 chance, right? There's 365 days a year.
No, I'm going to break it down a little bit further than that. Let's go 1 in, so, and this is just real quick math. There's 24 hours in a day.
Okay.
Times 365 days a year.
That's in the year, right? Mm-hmm.
That's 8,760 hours.
Okay, but are you? Is that where you're stopping? Because I can go further.
No, because we're by the hour here.
Yeah.
That's 1 in 8,760 hours
in a year.
Yeah, 1 out of 8,000 hours. 1 hour out of 8,000.
Okay, so I'm going to take it a little further, though.
Okay,
I'm going to take it a little further. So $400 million was paid the same day that we received hostages, when it was paid by the U.S. government to Iran.
Would they wire it to them like Western Union?
Well, that's how you would think it would be done, because, I mean, that's just how you transfer money, right?
You know, when I pay my guys in Romania, it has to be, emphatically has to be Western Union.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Because when I pay the people in Nigeria, it's always wire transfer through your own personal bank. It's really important.
I don't know if I would ever do that.
Well, they're reputable. They're reputable. I mean, the prince is.
Who's
the prince.
they?
Well, it's the royal family.
Oh,
right. They're persecuted.
Okay, right.
So there is a royal family, isn't there? Okay, so no, it was. You would think duffel bags, because that's how the American Democratic administrations have always worked. It's always duffel bags of money, right?
Right.
However, you can't fit $400 million in small bills in a duffel bag.
No, you can't.
So it's got to be palletized. It was. Brian's over here laughing.
And if you follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, or the likes, you've seen I've put up a video
of the trillion.
The trillion. What is $1 trillion? And it's not mine. I didn't make it, but I gave credit to whoever did.
It was great. Whoever came up with it was brilliant.
And so they showed a pallet of $100 million on.
I thought it was $1 trillion.
No, one pallet.
Yeah. Was
$100 million.
Okay.
One single pallet, and it was up to the man's chest. That's one pallet, $100 bills, $100 million. One pallet.
Okay.
4 pallets of $100 bills, chest high, is what Obama sent to Iran. $400 million. And you're like, was it all in American dollars?
Originally, I thought it was being reported that way, but I come to find out later, subsequent reporting has shown that it was a mixed bag.
Yes, it was a mixed bag of nuts. It had a bit of everything in it.
Like pennies?
No, foreign currencies.
Right.
Yeah, it had foreign currencies
Yens
as well as American dollars.
Rubies and ruples or whatever they're called.
So you're like, well, guys, come on. That sounds kind of hokey.
Same. Well, I want to finish this. I wanted to take it one step further. I didn't want to lose our track there. So you said how many hours? 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year.
8,760 a year.
So we find out that this payment that's not a ransom payment, people, okay? It's just a coincidence, all right? It goes back to 1979. So the odds of us paying a $400 million payment that was due in 1979 happening on the same day in the same hour that we receive 5 hostages.
Oh, okay. So 79 till now.
1979. Yeah.
8,760 times 79, 89, 99, 109.
Well, you could do 2,000. It'd be 30.
37.
47 years. 47.
Oh, 47. Okay, so 47. Oh, that's how coincident. 411 hours. 11,000 hours. 411,000 hours.
Oh, so $1 for every hour of coincidence.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So 400 million would be 400,000. It's 400,000 hours ago. 400,000 hours ago.
Unbelievable. So the odds of this happening on the exact same hour is theoretically possible, right? It's just one in not the same chance of winning the highest prize on a scratch off.
Well, I'm thinking,
and that's what they did. They won the highest price on the scratch off.
I'm going out for a lottery ticket tonight.
Or you could just start a Muslim country that is the leading sponsor of terrorism and then kidnap a couple Americans. That's all you got to do. And then there'll be an hour within the next 400,000 hours that you're going to get $400 million.
I mean, that's a heck of a payday. So I was looking through the sound bites. I was listening to the news this week, and here is one of the hostages is a pastor, is a Christian pastor, and he was preaching the gospel, telling people about Christ. And Kim Jong-un said, we put you in prison. So he locked him up. He's been locked up for a long time, and his wife is a very outspoken speaker, trying to get her husband freed from
Iran.
From Iran.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why I had North Korea on the brain. I said, it's the Ayatollah Khomeini that runs this regime. Mm-hmm. And they had him on the lockdown, and his wife is speaking to get him out. So finally, back in the day when John Kerry negotiated the nuke deal, when he came back, they were asked, hey, what about this lady's husband, the Christian? Did you talk about him? And John Kerry's like, yeah, he was on my mind. Like, every meeting we had, he was on my mind. He's always on the...
He's such a doofus.
And he looks in the back room, hey, why didn't somebody tell me about the hostage? Oh, they didn't know about it either.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
That was the big controversy, is that they didn't get the hostages.
Right.
And that why would you give them everything that they wanted, including the ability to go nuclear as soon as they're able to do the work to become nuclear, without getting the hostages?
Right. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
It's beyond irritating. So, Brian, can you explain to us? And I know I certainly can. We're in the military. We're in the military. We're former Air Force and Marine Corps veterans. Why don't we just pay to get these people back? Get them back. You don't want to leave them in prison.
This goes all the way back to the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers refused to pay ransom after the Muslim pirates, the Barbary pirates who were Muslim, Islam, hijacking boats, killing sailors, killing people, killing innocent merchants on the high seas, killing them, taking their cargo. So the Founding Fathers said, okay, we'll pay them. What do you guys want? We'll pay you. The Barbary pirate said, Well, I don't know. Maybe $400,000.
$400. I could totally see that.
So they paid him, and as soon after they paid him, the pirates continued to rape and pillage all the ships. So the Founding Fathers said, okay, it's not a law, but it is a precedent that was set.
I'm glad you said that. There's a lot of people that make the mistake of thinking that this is somehow written somewhere that would be enforced as law.
No.
In fact, I even heard commentary on the news. It might have been talk radio show, where they said, isn't this against the law? Isn't it illegal for Obama to be paying $400 million? Well, I guess if it needs to be checked off or signed off by a congressman, yeah, possibly there. But in general, there's not a law that says you can't pay for hostages or whatever. It's just that we don't, because we know what that leads to. You're actually creating a new market of kidnapping Americans.
Right.
You're creating it by infusing it with a payoff in the end, right?
Correct.
And on the other side, on the flip side, you're going to prevent people from wanting to kidnap Americans if they know they're not going to get any money for it.
Right.
And that's why we don't do it. And so it's really sad. Do you think, this is just kind of off the top of my head right now, and I'll see if Brian, what he thinks of this. Do you think that they were paid for because after the deal was done, they realized, oh, crap, we forgot to get the hostages?
Oh, maybe.
That's very possible. Very, very possible that it was kind of like can we go back and ask for them?
Right. Now, this payment was made in January of last year, so over 7 months ago. Mm-hmm. And the pastor, and I mentioned before, his name's Pastor Saeed, and he was interviewed recently, and this is what he said as he was being released as a hostage.
They told us you're going to be there for 20 minutes, but it took like hours and hours. We slept at the airport, and
Okay, I apologize. He's talking about being in the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and he was speaking to his captors, the Iranians that had him all chained up still. And he said, so when are we leaving? And he said, soon.
You'll leave soon.
Yeah, and then Saeed said they've been waiting for hours and hours and hours.
Because it takes a while to fly a whole plane chock full of Bobcat scoops full of cash.
Yes.
then why you don't let us go? Because the plane was there, pilot was there, everyone was ready that we leave the country. They said we are waiting for another plane, and until that plane doesn't come, we never let you go.
Oh, the smoking gun.
So he's saying, as he's waiting...
It's circumstantial. And by the way, this is very important because when it comes to arguing with liberals, you need to know these terms. I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but there are people out there that need to learn this stuff, and that's the reason we do this show. Circumstantial evidence is not proof. It's something that you can kind of tie together to... And enough circumstantial evidence piled up together could lead someone to a conclusion beyond a reasonable doubt. And some people will even say a proof beyond reasonable doubt if you have enough circumstantial evidence. This is circumstantial evidence. The opposite of that, or the all the way, the proof would be empirical evidence. This isn't empirical evidence. He didn't see them pull pallets of money out that says care of U.S. government.
Right, from Obama.
For the payment of these hostages.
Correct.
That would be empirical proof. But we know that it was flown in an unmarked plane, and now we know that this guy was being held until another plane came in.
Correct.
Presumably that he would not ever be released if that plane didn't arrive.
And that's what the Iranian military personnel told him, said to him, you do not leave until we get the second plane arrives. You don't leave.
Let me tell you something. If this plane does not come, you are never going to be released. You're going to stay here forever.
You're going back to the gulags.
The gulags. We'll send you up to the UCCP. Or the CCCP.
CCCP. Oh, man.
Oh, I don't even
So
know.
okay, so that's one thing. I mean, unless you're O.J. Simpson, you get off scot-free on empirical evidence. I mean, circumstantial evidence. But, okay, so Saeed is making a good point. He's been interviewed. I have no reason to not believe what he is saying is true. It's just that, like Carrie said, he didn't see the money. He was just told, you're not leaving unless a plane arrives.
And funny that you should say that. He didn't know what that plane was.
No, he absolutely not. Not until now.
Well, now he's like, oh, it all makes perfect sense.
Right. Okay,
That's exactly what happened.
So I was having a little fun with audio. Okay. And I'm going to set up the question. I'm going to ask Obama a question. And I've got the audio of him answering this question.
We're going to tell people what this really is?
I'm going to play my audio version.
Okay, all right.
And then we can play the other audio version. But so Obama. So
this is Brian having too much time on his hands. That's what this is.
So you pay ransom or you don't pay ransom? What is it? Is it yes ransom or no ransom?
We pay ransom for hostages. We've got.
Wait, what was that? I didn't hear that right.
That was pretty quick, Obama. Tell me. So you do or you don't? What do you say you do?
We pay ransom for hostages.
Okay.
Okay.
We've got a number of Americans being held all around the world.
Okay.
And I meet with their families.
Yeah, you meet with their
families. And it is heartbreaking.
I mean, it is.
And we have stood up an entire section of interagency experts who devote all their time to working with these families to get these Americans out.
Okay, they're working to get the American...
But those families know that we have a policy that we pay ransom. And the notion that we would somehow start now in this high-profile way and announce it to the world, even as we're looking into the faces of other hostage families whose loved ones are being held hostage, and say to them that we don't pay ransom, defies logic.
Oh, what was that?
So that's point number 2. We pay ransom precisely because then we would start encouraging Americans to be targeted, much in the same way that some countries that do pay ransom end up having a lot more of their citizens being taken by various groups.
It sounds
so what just happened?
It sounds to me that he said that not paying for ransom is illogical.
Right. He said...
This just doesn't make any logical sense.
He said to not pay ransom would be illogical.
So he's saying that paying ransom is the logical thing to do.
That's what I'm getting.
I mean, I know people misuse double negatives a lot. But this is the President of the United States.
Okay,
clearly.
So do you want to hear my undoctored version?
Sure.
This is the original. Now, stay with it, folks. This is the original version. The reason why I made that version, because it was too easy and it was fun.
It's funny, yeah.
It's fun because it's true. It's true. There's a lot of...
sometimes you got to flip the negatives to positive and positive in order to make him honest.
Right. Like when he starts talking about Donald Trump, but he refers to Hillary Clinton. He's literally speaking of Trump and all of Trump's accomplishments.
Yeah.
He says, and she...
Yeah, if you leave out the pronouns, if you leave out the she's and the hers... and exchange those with him and Trump and all that kind of stuff.
Shim.
You getting off on a tangent there. Let's talk about LGBT. No, I'm just kidding. For real, when you listen to Obama talk about Hillary Clinton, when he's trying to talk her up to be president.
Right.
If you were to replace all the she's and hers with hims and
Shims.
he and him, and replace her name, Hillary, with Don or Trump or whatever you want to call him, he sounds a lot more honest.
Oh, yeah, he's talking about Trump. He literally has to envision Trump.
While he's talking about her. That's how you... It's method acting.
We talked about this on the phone. Did we talk about the... No, I guess we didn't. I'm getting a grimace.
Oh, no, we can't. We did not talk about that on the phone. But he definitely has to... Whenever you're doing method acting, and if you're a method actor, just leave a comment.
Right. You become emotionally.
Well, you become your character.
Right.
And whenever you're acting and you're playing a different person, you're lying. You're not being yourself. You're being a dishonest person. That's not in a bad way.
Right.
You're performing a duty, a job. And your job is to be somebody else and be a certain character. But in a way, acting and lying are pretty much exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah, like when I go to work, I literally become a method actor.
Okay. So,
What do you say that you do here?
what is it that you do here? Oh, it's time to do my method acting.
Correct.
Okay. So as a method actor, you have to figure out certain things that you have to do in order to get in your character. And in order to sell it to the viewer, you have to really own it. And in order to own it, some of the things that they do is they live that character at all times. They become that character. And sometimes you have to envision yourself. A good example would be crying. If a method actor has to cry, a lot of times they'll start to think of the saddest thing they've ever seen or experienced in their life.
Old Yeller. Old Yeller.
Yeah. So in the movie Old Yeller, the kid ended up crying before he shot Old Yeller, but he didn't really shoot Old Yeller.
It was method acting.
Yeah, he had to figure out how to make himself cry. In the case of Obama talking about Hillary, he has to sell the fact that she's eligible, that she's
competent in any way possible,
that she's a good person, that she's intelligent, that she's not suffering from some sort of mental disorder of some sort that would be brought on by multiple strokes, those kind of medical conditions. He has to get into character. And how does he get into character? He has to think about Donald Trump.
And get emotionally charged about it.
Yeah. And so all he has to do is put a picture of President Trump in his head and how awesome that would be. And then just replace the hims with hers and the he's with the she's. And boom, just like that, he's selling the public on the next great president.
So now what he's doing in this press conference on Thursday is trying to sell to the American people that this ain't Ransom. What y'all thinking?
Ooh, yeah, method acting.
Yeah, and so
By the way, go ahead.
So here's his clip.
We do not pay ransom for hostages. We've got a number of Americans being held all around the world. And I meet with their families. And it is heartbreaking. And we have stood up an entire section of interagency experts who devote all their time to working with these families to get these Americans out. But those families know that we have a policy that we don't pay ransom. And the notion that we would somehow start now in this high-profile way and announce it to the world, even as we're looking into the faces of other hostage families whose loved ones are being held hostage, and say to them that we don't pay ransom, defies logic.
I'll tell you what, man. I know what he did there. He kind of took a left turn and fell off the cliff.
Or, as some would say, right into an abutment.
But the leap that you have to make from the original point he was trying to make to him describing that point as being illogical was so long, such a huge leap, that it sounds like he was saying the opposite.
Well, he lost it. Well, I mean, if you were sitting there watching the press conference, he's going to lose you with the blah, blah, blah,
and he did. He did. When I first heard that clip, I said, he just said that not paying ransoms for hostages is illogical.
Oh, that's illogical.
That was my first thought, because he did lose me with the
And when I was editing the audio, I got to that part and I'm like, oh, this plays great into my narrative. I'm like,
he actually said that. Yeah. So I'll do a Mike Sarovich here. He says, listen, it's not my job to explain these people. I'm just reporting to you what they're saying.
Right.
And it sounded to me like he said that not paying ransom for hostages is illogical.
Correct.
You can determine based on the whole audio in context what he really meant. And to be honest with you, I'm giving him a lot of leeway here by saying flip a coin.
Yeah, because in his mind, he knows what he did. He knows what he did in his mind.
Okay, so if I give him a lot of credit, I should say, he's sending out a dog whistle of some sort.
Yeah,
or a feeler. Like what do people think if I can trick them into thinking that I'm saying we need to start paying ransoms?
Somebody needs to start paying it.
Not me, but
right.
By we, I mean you.
right.
And then that way it could get his constituency or maybe people who are on the fence about it throwing out their opinion, which is, if you know what you're doing, you've been in the military and you know all about how the world works, you would say, no, we're not going to start paying ransom, because if we do, what's going to happen is exactly what the reason why we never did this. Correct. Is that we've created a market of human trafficking and human smuggling and human kidnapping that pays very well. It's the same thing with the stupid pirates off the coast of Africa. They kept on taking they were stealing cargo ships and stuff like that, and they wanted to go after the American ones because those pay really well.
Right. Well, and you think about it, when you have capitalist countries that are very successful and hardworking, delivering excellent products for money or delivering services for money, there's the trade of money versus services. Why do you think there are armored vehicles driving around with big giant letters on the side that say Brinks? Why would you have to have an armored vehicle to deliver money from one bank to another? Because you got criminals that'll steal it. You've got to protect it.
I think they need to just put it in a duffel bag.
Just walk around with it. It'd be all right.
I wonder if that airplane that flew into Iran said Brinks.
Oh, man.
Brought to you by Brinks.
Either that or Western Union.
I heard they like that.
We deliver.
Okay.
So Krauthammer was on with Brett Baer this week. And Krauthammer kind of had some interesting thoughts on this, as well as Brett Baer kind of sets it up and leads into it. And then Krauthammer he gives his own thought and opinion, and he's very honest and really upfront about this entire ordeal. So
I got a lot of respect for him, even though it took him forever to come around about Trump, but whatever.
I agree with Rush Limbaugh more often than I do Krauthammer, yet I agree with Krauthammer like 97% of the time. 96%.
Okay.
Rush, I'm like 98.
I agree with Rush probably 99.9.
Okay.
As the hostages were getting ready to leave, one of the hostages on Fox Business Today said that they were stuck on the tarmac for about 2 hours. And they asked what the delay was. And he said, because we had to wait for another plane to land.
Because they had to wait for the ransom to arrive. That's what happens when you ransom a hostage. You wait until the cash arrives, and then the guy in all the movies is released to go across, the field where he's being released. Look, for them to try to pretend this was anything other than a ransom is laughable, and I think it hurts their credibility. You can argue it was the only way. You can argue we were in negotiations and we thought, what the heck, if we're going to give them 150 billion elsewhere, why not 1.7? It's not a lot. And then the president's a defense of the use of cash, as if this is, we couldn't wire the money. Well, why couldn't you wire it? He said, because of sanctions. Well, that means because they were actually going around the law, going around sanctions, and they had to do it illicitly, clandestinely, at night, the way it's done by gangsters. That's because they were doing ransom. They didn't want anyone to know, and they had to go around the law and the Congress. The Congress didn't know. No, this is not old news. It's new news, and it's highly embarrassing. And the president, I have to admit, he's rather good with words. He made it sound like this was just completely natural.
Yeah, totally natural.
And that's how he rolls with it. But like Krauthammer said, there's nothing, for the most part, on the surface, there's nothing illegal or something that would get Obama impeached.
Well, no, he says it's totally illegal because of the sanctions we've had on Iran.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go with it.
And going around Congress.
Sanctions, Congress, and then somebody else brought up this week, trading money for hostages to a terrorist nation. There's something really.
There may actually be a law for that.
Right, on the books to actually pay a terrorist nation.
So my original monologue might be wrong about how it's not exactly technically illegal. It's just that there's a reason it's been a policy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But it may actually also be illegal.
So, yeah, no, definitely. So on pjmedia.com, they wrote about this, and they wrote, it is not at all clear. Oh, this is where they quote Obama. And Obama says, "It's not at all clear to me why it is that cash, as opposed to a check or a wire transfer, has made this in a news story." Why is this newsworthy? Just because it was cash? Could have been a check. Could have been a wire transfer. What are y'all talking about? What's the problem?
What difference at this point? I mean, what is he trying to do? Is this like deliberately muddying the water?
I imagine so. I mean, I don't know how else he's not muddying the water.
Well, he has to muddy the water because if it was clear water, he'd be exposed. He's not wearing bathing suits.
No, right. So
he's got to muddy the water.
So PJ Media writes, a word to the wise. If you ever find yourself making a multi-million-dollar payment to someone and he asks for it in stacks of cash, you might want to walk away.
Why?
You want to like this with Obama. Mud on your face.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'll take the cash over the check.
I mean, you would if you were the nefarious organization.
Right. I mean, Iran. And then aren't they bragging about the fact that this was ransom?
By the way, breaking news. Iran brags this is ransom.
That's called circumstantial evidence. Oh, man. But you know what? You could pile it on to the gigantic. I mean, this is what liberals do. If you look at the O.J. Simpson case, and I bring that up because you kind of alluded to that as kind of an example.
I always love talking about that.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen of the supposed jury.
Johnny Cochran has to be raised up on high.
Well, it's called Weekend at Bernie's, right?
Right.
You gotta dig him up. Oh, we miss him so much. Okay, so what happened in the O.J. Simpson case was that you have this pile of huge, ridiculous, probably one of the most overwhelming stacks of circumstantial evidence, leading one to conclude that O.J. Simpson actually murdered his wife or his ex-wife.
Right.
Okay. And he became innocent. And the reason he was innocent, and the reason people defend him, even people who let's just take race out of this. Forget about white people being outraged and black people cheering and all this stuff. Let's just take all that out of it. Let's look at it more at an ideological perspective, where you have people on the right and people on the left. What the left like to do, and this is a perfect setup for what the left is doing in politics today, especially with regards to $400 million payments and all that.
Wow.
What they like to do is say, oh, I know you got this giant tsunami, this giant Mount Everest of circumstantial evidence. But guess what you're missing? You're missing proof.
Where's the gun that's still smoking from the heat from the bullet?
I want to see the undoctored footage from multiple angles of the bullet leaving the chamber with a clear shot of the face of the person who pulled the trigger and the bullet entering the supposed dead victim.
Correct.
Before you can tell me that I can no longer deny this. And that's what they're doing.
And I want the shell and forensics to match the shell to the gun.
And fingerprints.
Fingerprints. I also want forensics to find the lead bullet part.
And at the end of the day, you can't prove that this is not all photoshopped.
Oh, wow. Like Obama's birth certificate.
Well,
did I slip down that one?
Yeah, I mean, that seems like that's the case.
Right. So Matt Drudge on Drudge Today, he wrote about this whole thing, and he said, Obama's been telling us for months that we can trust the Iranians. However, they've been bragging that the astonishing cash payment was ransom. And Obama remarkably explained the reason that we had to give them cash is precisely because we're so strict in maintaining sanctions, and we do not currently have a banking relationship with them.
Wait a minute. If we have sanctions, then why? You're pretty much telling them. You're literally saying, yeah, we shouldn't have given them money because that's what sanctions are. So we got to do cash?
Well, but this was from 1979, and cash would slip under the radar, and you wouldn't supposed to. You're not supposed to sit. Don't look the other way, folks. I'm out. I'm leaving in January. Why are you pressing me?
Let me tell you something. Obama needs to learn a little something. I'm going to give Hillary Clinton a lot of credit. Do you have the sound clip of her gobbledygook? Of her trying to get out of her lies?
Oh, I've got a bunch of sound bites on her.
We're going to get to that on the show today. Her ability to...
Oh, the one where the... Oh, I've got the one... Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, her ability... Well, they're trying to... We're kind of changing subjects here, but to tie it all together, she has a remarkable ability to lie about lying. We're talking about to James Comey here. When she was asked if she ever lied to the American people, even though she was honest about what she said to the FBI. And Director Comey actually said she never lied to us, but I can't say whether or not she lied to the American people.
Man.
And her explanation of that and how that works, and her surrogate's explanation of that, is something that Obama is probably like, wow. We're not worthy.
Yeah.
We're not worthy. I'm telling you, that's what he's doing.
Except when she does one of these.
Of course, I hope you will compare what I'm proposing to what my opponent is talking about.
Whoa, let's break that down shotgun style.
Woo!
So she made a Freudian slip here.
She's talking this week about her policies that she wants to put into place.
Right.
And she says, my policies compared to my opponent's policies.
But she said husband.
My husband.
I mean, my opponent.
Right.
So my first initial reaction was, oh, she messed up by forgetting she's not first lady. That's what my first thought was, that she was still in first lady mode. And when she's talking about presidential policies, that she accidentally thought that she needs to be defending her husband, who would be president if she was still first lady.
Right.
That was my first thought.
Okay.
But then I broke it down a little further. I said, whoa. I need to really investigate what's really happening here, because I love psychology. I'm a semi-pro poker player.
Well, the human thought process is just amazing to me.
Yeah. So I started thinking about further. Play that clip again, and then I will tell you what I eventually figured out.
Of course, I hope you will compare what I'm proposing to what my opponent is talking about.
Okay, so here's... She's not talking about Bill Clinton, and she's not accidentally forgetting she's not first lady anymore. Which, by the way, it's been a long time since she was first lady.
Oh.
Like 16 years since she's been first lady.
I was going to say, think about it. 2 full double-term presidencies.
Yeah, it's been a long time. She's been Secretary of State. She's run for president herself already and lost to Barack Obama. Here's what she just did. She's got a crush on Trump.
Trump crush.
She's not talking about Bill Clinton. She's talking about, she said, my husband, I mean my opponent. Who's her opponent? Her opponent is Donald Trump.
Unless you're in that camp to think that her husband is actually her opponent at times. She's fighting him on.
That's what I thought initially. My initial thought was that she thought she was fighting her. Well, my initial thought was she still thinks she's first lady.
Right.
She's defending her husband, or is her opponent her husband, which is Bill Clinton?
Right.
No, she's talking about Donald Trump. She's got Donald Trump on the mind.
Wow,
a little bit too much on her mind.
These people are sick with it.
She thinks, and she secretly, subconsciously wishes she was married to him. Now you're probably thinking, whoa. She's probably never even in the same room with Trump.
Is that legal?
That she's not in the same room with him?
No, that she would marry a man.
Well, she could marry. Well, obviously Trump's married right now,
Right.
But she would marry him if he becomes president because
Okay.
she does want to be back in the White House
Yeah,
that bad.
Whatever it takes, by hook or by crook.
And
Right.
maybe that's the signal she's sending out.
The whistle. Hey, Trump.
Just
Trump.
let you know.
Just let
if things between you and Melania don't work out.
That is a horrible thought. Some news guru, some TMZ with a potato cam caught a picture of her and Bill on the beach.
Oh, it's totally made up.
She was in a onesie,
Okay.
like the kind that you put on your babies, the full onesie,
Or the onesie that they wear in the Olympics, like the swimmers.
right? And she had literally had tree trunks straight down from hip to floor.
You are lying.
Yes,
The cankles.
Oh my! Her ankles were the
still-
same size as her thighs.
Is her torso?
Right. Yes.
Oh.
So what a horrible thought.
Wow.
Oh my goodness! And then I couldn't help it to slip down the awesome sauce road of the whole lies and the liars, and I come up with this, and we're gonna talk through it and keep it low because I don't want YouTube to get upset with me. But
We got to talk through it. What is it?
I'm not gonna tell a lie.
Is this what's his name?
Yeah.
What's his name? Rollins. Henry Rollins. This would be a this would be a great video of an ad. An ad.
Smith Radio, we are going to do. Dude, talk to him.
Yes.
I would imagine he probably.
I don't know, man.
He might be on board.
That's a great. I don't know because did you know one of the verses in that is about cops? He's in a cop uniform.
Oh, he is in a cop uniform.
Yeah.
But that was back in his day when he was younger.
Like really early 90s.
Right. He might be on. I'll lie again. Maybe he'll come around.
There's one of his verses where it looks like he's in a presidential, like a suit with the red tie and everything.
Yeah.
If it annoyed you that we talked through that, YouTube's going to kind of require us to do that because their algorithm will hear that. But we did want to hear you to hear the Henry Rollins
version of liar. All you have to do is type in liar in Google.
Well, liar and dude, come on, you got to refine it a little bit. Liar Henry Rollins.
Because, well, I'm just telling you right now, if you type in liar, nobody from the left will come up. No Debbie Wasserman Schultz. No Hillary Clinton. No Obama.
So Bill Mitchell noticed something this week, which I don't know. I mean, everybody knows that the left is going to try to figure out ways to make you look bad, make their opponents look bad by only featuring the worst pictures, photographs of like either a grimace or just an ugly face or a bad angle. And then on the left, you'll always see these pictures that where it's looks like Glamour Shots did it. It's like really perfect poses and everything like that to make them look regal and attractive and all that kind of stuff. So Bill Mitchell noticed that there's a picture in an article, leftist article, and Trump is in there, and he's supposedly wearing a white shirt with his tie. So it's like white, okay?
Right.
And Brian, show me up. Okay. So this white shirt has a little bit of an orange hue to it. Come to find out, and also there's way too much color in general.
Right.
So they cranked up the color, and then they turned the hue to make the whole thing like almost like they put an orange filter over the whole picture in order to make his skin on his face look even more orange, because that's the running joke.
He's got orange skin.
Yeah, there's orange skin. I mean, we saw Glenn Beck and Stu. Let me tell you something. Glenn Beck, I know a lot of
his
people.
His career's over.
I know his career's over.
So sorry.
But here's the thing.
He didn't have to go down that road.
He didn't. But here's why he did. I think that Glenn Beck is a guy with a lot of heart. I think he's probably a good guy. I think if I ever met him somewhere and he got to know me as much as I like Trump, I think that he would actually, I think we'd get along and I think he'd be okay with me. And I think he's a good guy. I do. I think he's a good guy. I think that his Stu and Jeffy, and who's the other one? Pat. Stu, Pat, maybe not so much Jeffy and maybe not so much Pat. They definitely are bad influences. But Stu has grabbed the steering wheel of the Glenn Beck program and jerked him into the biggest bridge abutment you've ever seen. And Glenn, I don't know, these are probably childhood friends of his.
Yes, they've been friends for a long
probably
long
since
time.
like junior high or something like that, maybe even earlier. And he's not going to stand up to Stu. He's not going to say, hey, Stu, I think you're going the wrong way, or I think you're going too far with this. I don't agree with you. He's just not going to do it. And Stu is just insane with it. He's like gone full Bill Crystal. It's Stu. I think that Glenn Beck would not have gone so far. I think that if he was on his own or with better handlers, I think he would have avoided this. Stu has just pulled them all in the wrong direction. And I think that Pat and Jeffy have a lot to blame for it too, but Stu's the worst one. And how do I know all this? Because as much as it probably pains other people to do this, and it pains me, trust me, I listen to him every morning because I have to listen to opposition. Mike Cervich says it. Mike Cervich will tell you, I listen to my opposition because I need to find out where they are and how to combat them. If you want to know how to win arguments against the left and against these never Trump idiots that claim that they're conservative when they're absolutely not, and if you're a never Trumper out there listening right now, you're not a conservative because conservatives conserve the Constitution. And right now we're 4-4 on SCOTUS.
Right.
Supreme Court of the United States. 2 more are going to be up minimum in the next presidency. And if it's going to be Hillary, it's over.
I got a clip on Rudy. Rudy was on with Sean Hannity today. And people that are upset about everything going on this entire week with Trump, stepping in it, not stepping in it.
Oh, by the way, it's been a rough week for him. And as of now, we are on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have to sit here and combat all this stuff all week. Trump, man, Teflon Don, he laid low. He let everybody swing. It's like Muhammad Ali and
when he's
George Foreman.
What do they call that? The rope-a-dope.
Yeah, he did the rope-a-dope.
Trump doing a rope-a-dope.
He sat back, and then on the Ryan endorsement, we were all just like, ooh, we cringed when we heard it initially. And then we started thinking, why did he do this? There's got to be something behind it. What's going on? And then we finally got some of the insider information, figured it out, and realized, wow, not only is this brilliant, but now everybody's running with this, and there's all these news stories that are coming off from the side. All of this, quote, well, it's manufactured.
Right.
All the news from this week that has made Trump look bad and has caused, and it was so bad that the left news, the professionals and the celebrities,
the professional spinners,
they were starting to get really confident to the point of overconfidence. They were just like, it's over.
It's over.
Look, Hillary's 14 points ahead in national polls. It's over.
The biggest lie poll of them all.
They were singing "We Are the Champions" by Queen by Thursday, easily.
And then by Friday, they had the Beatles on their Communist National Anthem.
Oh, the Revolution?
Yeah. No, not Revolution. It was Imagine.
Oh, they played that?
Oh, yeah. Well, did you hear? They had Simon and Garfunkel. They had Simon play a rendition at the DNC. And his voice was cracking. Oh, it was awful.
Well, I mean, I don't care about who sang it or how bad it was. It was Imagine?
No, it wasn't Imagine. It was one of his...
okay.
But it was one of the...
Because I'm going to tell you right now, any politician who dares plays Imagine by John Lennon is a full... You might as well play the Soviet national anthem from back in the day. Remember when they used to win all the Olympics?
Oh, He sang Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Is that a communist tune?
Well, it's that whole pie in the sky. Bridge over troubled
I know the
waters.
song, but I don't know what it's about.
It's about hippies back in the day and Flower Child trying to...
Okay.
Dreaming it away.
Sounds like kind of a downer song.
Oh, boy. It makes you want to slit your wrist. By the way, folks, don't go... You got to go with the grain. You got to go with the grain.
Oh, wow.
If you want to do it correctly.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Let's not do that, folks.
So Brian just slipped off on some awesome sauce. Sorry about that.
All right.
I get there when I talk about these Democrats.
And listen to Bridge Over Troubled Water. So you don't want to watch too much of the DNC. You might end up hurting yourself.
Right. So the new polls out. New polls.
Yeah. Apparently a 12-point swing, right?
CNN, Trump 44.
Okay, Trump 44.
Clinton 39.
No.
Yeah, CNN. This is the new polls out.
When'd that come out?
Just like yesterday, the day before.
That's like a 20-point swing.
LA
in 2 days. You're telling me, somebody said, I don't even remember who it was, there ain't no 20-point swing in a couple days. It's just not statistically possible.
Right. Well, they're not polling the right people, or they changed the people they poll.
It was my buddy Mike who said it. He said...
Cerovich?
No.
No.
A different Mike. Here in Cincinnati. He said, if you can swing the polls 20 points in one day, you can swing them back. Is it that volatile?
Right.
If it's that volatile, you're going to swing them which way?
It's just like the stock market, folks. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, if you drop 10,000 points in one day, or no, 1,000 points in one day, you better get ready because it's going to be 1,000-point swing the next day, and you might not know which direction, but there's going to be a big swing the next day. Right. Usually back the opposite direction. It's like a trampoline.
Right. So the LA Slimes, or the LA Times, 45 Trump, 41 Clinton.
What was the first one?
45 Trump, 41 Clinton.
Really? How are these that far? Like, literally, there was a 14-point lead for Clinton a couple days ago.
Morning Consult, 44 Trump, 40 Clinton.
What's over then?
It's over! We can send this one home. We're going to mail this one in.
So, did they literally... I mean, we all were saying, of course they're lying about polls, and then the left came out and said, if you think that they're lying about these polls, you obviously don't know how polls work.
Right.
It turns out...
We don't know how the polls work. Because they're making it up as they go along.
So, you're right. We have no idea.
Their algorithms on putting together polls are just unknown.
It's a mystery.
It is.
Well, we have a little bit of insight. I think, what was it, a 55% sampling of Democrats? Or something like
I think
that?
It was higher than that.
57?
Yeah, because...
Almost 60% of them.
And their reasoning was, you don't understand, we're polling the demographics because there are 57% Americans that are Democrat.
Oh, hell no.
That's what they're saying. They're saying there are more Democrats than Republicans.
No.
And that's what they're saying. And here's how they say that. They say that because it's kind of like, and this is not a crack on the Catholic Church, but it's kind of like when you're born and you're christened in a Catholic church, you're on the books for life as a Catholic.
Oh, I get you.
Whether you leave or not.
Oh, it's just like Obama's a Muslim.
Correct.
Because he was born from
Once
a Muslim
you're born
father.
as a Muslim,
yeah,
you are Muslim for life.
It's a good thing the Muslims don't know who his real father is, because if they did, they would know, oh, gosh, I guess he's not Muslim. Because
Frank Marshall Davis converted.
To what?
To Muslim. Oh, he was...
Are you sure?
Yeah, like
whoa.
It's the Black Panthers Muslim.
Nation of Islam.
Nation of Islam.
Are you sure? Because he was a full-blown card-carrying member of the Communist Party USA. And everybody knows, especially back in the middle of the 20th century, that communists were atheists.
Correct.
So to say that he joined Nation of Islam would be kind of... I wouldn't believe it, because if he really truly believes in full-blown communism like they did back then you would have to know that they're atheists. That's the religion of communism, is atheism. And it is a religion, by the way. And if you want to argue with me on that, I would love to, because you will lose. I win every argument on that. I actually made a video about it. So if you want to look that video up, the name of the channel is Don't Believe Atheism on YouTube, and it is all one word.
Don't Believe Atheism on YouTube.
That's the name of the channel. It's all one word. Don't believe atheism. And I made a video, and I made this video like 6 years ago or something. It was a long time ago, but it was a proof. It was a proof that atheism is a religion.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome.
So anyway,
so back to that. We're talking about Trump.
Yep.
We're talking about the numbers that came out this week. We're talking about a lot of people. People were so upset this week with Trump and the Trump air. You know, that what are they feeling? What's in the air? That Rudy took to Hannity. And this is what Rudy and Hannity talked about. And it was my whole theme all week. I'm telling you, folks, I didn't waver. My knees didn't get shaky. And I didn't.
I'll tell you what,
get a
I was
fever.
in a bad mood all week. So I'm really extremely happy with the way this week ended. And what did Rudy say?
4 years from now, if we have a Hillary Clinton presidency, she's going to go immediately to the left when she gets elected, because she's going to start worrying immediately about a challenge from the left by Elizabeth Warren.
You know, that's funny. Hold on a second. That's funny that he says that. If she's elected, she's president, and she's going to worry because she knows her party is left. She knows her party wants to go communist, dictatorship, whatever.
Progressive is the new word for communist.
And so we all know her and Elizabeth Warren do not see eye to eye.
Why? I am actually shocked
because
to hear that.
Elizabeth Warren is a minority.
You mean allegedly?
She's a Native American Indian, and you know how Hillary feels about minorities.
Well, I assume
she don't like them.
Well, it's
none of them,
and it's not Hillary Clinton. It's the Democrat Party. If you're a Democrat, you have to hate minorities,
right? And so go out and see the new movie by Dinesh D'Souza, Hillary's America, and you see all about.
But here's the thing: if everybody knows that she's lying about being American Indian, then Hillary would have to believe that too, which means she knows she's not a minority. Elizabeth's not.
Okay.
So I did a double back there.
Oh, okay. I got lost.
So you're saying that she's going to agree with the premise that she's Native American?
Correct.
Why?
She don't like it.
Okay, all right.
So, but anyways, Elizabeth Warren is way far left, supposedly, than Hillary is. Hillary, I think, is more all about the money than she is left or right.
Oh, of course.
She could care less. She voted for the Keystone Pipeline because she got paid by Canadians.
Okay.
And the Canadian government donated money to the Clinton Foundation.
Well, that's every single decision's like that, right?
Correct.
Every decision she makes.
So as soon as she becomes president, she's going to try and hedge her bet and beat Elizabeth Warren to the punch by going further left. That's Rudy's premise. I'd hate to think that would be true, but you never know. She'll do whatever it is for money.
Right. We're going to go further left than under Obama. Healthcare will be ruined. We're going to ruin healthcare. Mm-hmm. We're going to be a European socialist country, and most importantly, we're going to have Supreme Court justices who undermine our constitutional form of government. And the next president will be able to accomplish
for all those Republicans that are all nervous today, you're telling them, like I said on my radio show today, calm down. We got a long way to go.
Yeah, calm down. Yeah. You got a man you can talk to. You got a man that's rational. You got a man that is basically on your wavelength. He's calm down. Calm down.
What was that?
That was my little
remix.
Remix.
Okay.
Calm down.
We got the calm down button. So yeah, no, this was my whole thing all week. And take this. I know we were kind of talking about Hillary for a second, but we'll get back to her and Gruccifer. But now that we're talking about Trump, I just want all of y'all to be reassured and go back to fact. Go back to what you know about Trump and revisit that. Just like a baseball team that's having a losing season, or a football team that's having a losing streak, what they'll do is they'll go back to the basics. What's real? Let's go back to the basics. Let's build it all back. You know about that with wrestling and coaching wrestling. Let's go back to the basics and reinforce what we know.
Let me go ahead and completely validate that. I coached wrestling first of all, I wrestled myself for 9 years. And I remember, I was pretty good, but I wasn't like the very, very best. And there were teams out there that were elite top wrestlers. And they were always on the same team, right? So it'd be a whole team full of really good kids. And then there'd be other teams that had a whole bunch of mediocre kids. And so there was this false belief, and I didn't know it was false at the time. We all totally believe this, that they were being taught these really fancy moves. You know, that they had coaches that knew moves that we didn't know. And that's how they were beating us. And then I went back after getting out of the Marine Corps and becoming a coach. And I went back to my original alma mater. And as I was there, I was like, you know what? I know a lot of moves that a lot of these other coaches don't. Let's get fancy with it. And so I started teaching them these really complicated moves and really drilling them so that they would learn them, because it takes a lot of work and skill to build up the skill to execute some of these more complicated moves. And after 10 years of doing that, I got an opportunity to coach at a school that has pretty much what I consider the best coach, at least in Southwest Ohio. He's made it a goal to create a team that is going to be ranked in the nation, and I totally believe that that is attainable, if not soon, definitely in the next couple of years, right? So I get to this place, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to tap into this guy and figure out what he's teaching these kids, because it's got to be really – this is going to be the top of the top. We're in the big leagues now, right?
Correct.
And I get there, and my first thing I noticed was, okay, well, he's teaching the basics, and he's teaching it largely the same way that I've learned it, and largely the same way I teach it now. He actually breaks it down in even more simple terms and teaches the kids to execute it even more simply than we do.
Correct.
So I'm like, okay, all right. After a while, I'm like, all right, so when do we get to the complicated stuff? It never happened. It never happened. At this place that I'm coaching at now with the top level coaching, top level wrestlers, they have the basics perfected. And we have the most simple way to learn the basic moves. And they execute them better than everybody else. And that's how they win. So in Trump's case, we're going back to basics. And that's what's going to win. We don't have to get fancy. We don't have to get complicated. We don't have to do it the liberal way, which is deceiving everybody. We just need to be common sense and simple. And we need to stop thinking like I had this mistake too, that the people who are winning in the world, in any industry, in politics, in business, in anything, know special little secrets that nobody else knows. And if only we can learn those secrets, those really complicated tricks, the tricks that nobody else knows, then we will have effectively sold our soul to the devil to get all the riches and success. Right. It doesn't work that way. It's really keeping it that simple. Okay. Just keep it simple.
Now, something that we know about Trump, just as a fact, there are facts about his life that are out there that you don't have to imagine, you don't have to make up. The accomplishments that he's had, the successes he's had, the losses he's had. As a leader, he has shown himself to be a 100% bona fide leader in this entire race. It didn't show up overnight. It's something that he has developed over an entire lifetime. Folks, he's 72? Right.
No, he just turned 70 and he was 69.
Okay.
He turned 70 in June.
I was thinking about Dad. So he's my dad's age. Trump has spent a lifetime of developing leadership, the ability to become a leader and to sell himself. And someone who writes about leadership that I have such great respect for is John Maxwell.
Okay.
And if you've ever...
He's made a lot of books.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Has he? And he was a preacher on the West Coast out in California. So he's very motivational. He's real upbeat. He's got a lot of real witty sayings and things like that keep you motivated and keep you on par. One of the things that he wrote about a leader's greatest things. And I just want to touch, there's only 10 of them, but I want to touch on them. And I want you to keep Trump in mind as I'm saying these things. The first thing on the list is the leader's greatest victory. What is a leader's greatest victory? Victory over self. The victory that you have over the control of yourself. And people may say, well, Trump's out there, he's got no control of his mouth. He's saying stuff. He's out there, he's a loose cannon. You may think that. However, I'm telling you right now, it's calculated and it's specific, and there's a reason why he does what he does. It's because a large population of the crowd, the majority of the people that support him have resonated with that. And he saw that during the run-up against, I forgot his name. Lion Ted Cruz. When his run with Lion Ted, at one point in time,
everybody's forgot his name.
Yeah. At one point in time, Trump did do what some of you folks are saying, which is back off. Don't be so brash. Don't be so out in your face. Back off a little bit. And he did. All of a sudden, what happened? His numbers start to plummet. The response to that was so much so that Trump said, no. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do what I know is working and resonating with the people.
Well, originally, the first time they hired Paul Manafort.
Correct.
Originally, he comes on and all of a sudden you notice a change in Trump's behavior. So everybody decided, they came to the conclusion that this is the new Trump now that a more responsible person is in charge, right?
Correct.
And immediately his numbers started falling. And then Trump went back to Paul Manafort and said, dude, this ain't working. You need to step aside. I'm putting Corey Lewandowski back over the top of you and all this stuff. And then, sure enough, Trump was doing what he does, tweeting stuff that people are kind of freaking out about. And his numbers went right back up. And then there was infighting. And then finally, Paul Manafort finally figured it out. Wow, I just need to let Donald Trump do what Donald Trump does.
And then Manafort will do what Manafort does by wrangling, by corralling the delegates, by doing the campaign in his fashion, in his mold, without affecting Trump in the way Trump does.
And that is the smartest way to do it.
So Maxwell writes about this and says, we commonly think that leaders' greatest victory is being over others, as defeating an opposing team or a rival business. However, as Plato wrote, the first and best victory is to conquer oneself.
Oh, boy.
Every leader faces a struggle against self-interestedness, yet whereas followers tend to think of themselves first, leaders have learned to put others ahead of themselves.
That is something I've learned. As soon as I realized that making other people successful in the long run is a benefit to yourself, that's when everything turned around for me.
Right. When they say if you want to be a millionaire, go find 5 people and make them millionaires.
Oh, yeah.
You'll instantly become a millionaire automatically.
Easily.
So I mean, we all have bad habits. We all do things that aren't, the best of things that we shouldn't be doing. And maybe we get lazy and tired at times. But you got to think about this. Trump sleeps 4 to 5 hours a night. Yes, he's probably looking a little bit tired, a little bit rough. I understand. However, what he's doing, the run that he's making, this daily, he is slaying the dragon every day, every night. All his moves are calculated. If he didn't have good habits instilled in him, this thing would have fallen apart like Ted Cruz.
That's interesting that you say that, because doesn't this look like the hardest thing that a human being could ever do? The amount of energy and time and just everything that you got to do, all the tweets on your off time.
Right.
And then he does he'll do 2-hour speeches in 2 different cities, 500 miles apart in one day.
Correct.
And then go home and tweet for 5 hours.
Correct.
And you're like, does this guy even sleep? But here's the thing. In order for him to do what he did in the private sector, he was probably about this busy at all times. So in a way, he's kind of in his element, as opposed to a lot of his opponents who they have these long periods of, whew, we're elected, now let's take our shoes off, let's everybody relax, everybody take a break. And then the daily grind of maybe working 2 hours a day or whatnot. And what was that noise? You okay?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Getting me a little nervous there. So, so we're sitting here on the air on this computer, getting off on
the one we're getting rid of.
Yeah, we're on the air, and it's all hooked up to this one computer, and it does something that appears to both Brian and I to be shutting down.
Because you know that's what Windows does automatically on its
and
own.
We're like, are we still on the air?
Windows will say, you haven't given me enough attention. I'm shutting down.
That's right. You have to massage it.
So back to the leadership thing. Somebody asked me at work the other day. We were talking about politics, and this was brought up. And they said to me, well, if you know it all so well, why don't you run for president or run for something or whatever?
Okay.
I looked at him.
Catcher, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I looked at him and said, whoa. What they're saying about Trump right now is not true. It's false. They're lying about it. However, what they'd be saying about me might be true.
Yeah, that's. I've thought of that. Think
about all the things. You, the listener.
I know. I already know. I cannot run for president.
No,
I can't do it.
I don't even think I could run. Well, if I ran as a Democrat, I'd be good to go.
Probably. I and probably Brian cannot run for president.
Think about it, and think about yourself to run for president. How, as a conservative Republican, so for those of you out there that are so conservative, your Tea Party members, your constitutionalists, your Cruz Cray people, your real Cray Cruz. Cray. Okay, run for president. Do you think your character, your judgment, your leadership, do you think all that would even hold up? For a split second, it wouldn't. It would. The leader that you would have to be would be the leader of leaders. You're the one who teaches leaders by example. By example, leaders look at you and write about you and your habits. You don't have to tell people you're a leader. You never have to tell people who you are because they see it and they know it by your actions. Now, Hillary, on the other hand, has to constantly deny that she's a liar. Why? Because everybody knows she's a liar.
I guess she's banking on the fact that if you add the total number of people together that either believe her when she lies about lying or those that admire her for her dishonesty. And I know that sounds ridiculous to everybody listening, but trust me, I used to be a Democrat. I was a Democrat, or I should say liberal. I didn't know what I was so
one's more
ignorant.
Extreme than the other.
Well, no, Democrat is the party.
Oh, right.
Liberal is the ideology. I was so ignorant about it all. I'll never forget. I was talking to this guy philosophically, and he goes, "Oh, man, you're one of those bleeding heart liberals, aren't you?" Had no idea what that was. And I said, no. But of course I was a total bleeding heart. That being said,
she's having to deny what she is.
That being said, at that moment in time when that guy accused me of being a bleeding heart liberal, President Clinton was in office. And there was the whole Monica Lewinsky scandal, and I kind of chuckled about the whole thing. And then when the lie came, at first I was like, yeah, you're not supposed to lie to Congress, and you should be honest in general, blah, blah, blah. But then I started listening to the spin, and what was the spin? Well, you know what? In order to deal with all these bad actors that are leading these dictatorships overseas, we need somebody to deceive them. We need somebody that's dishonest. We need somebody that can look one of those guys right in the face and get ahead of them by deceiving them, by lying to them. So we need a good liar. That was the spin. And I was like, yeah.
So they traded
that's right.
They traded the word leader for liar.
Yeah, but they actually made the case for the importance of having a good liar as president. So that being said, getting back to my point, there's this group of people. One of them actually believe, they're stupid. They're low information voters. They believe Hillary when she says, I didn't lie. And then the other group of people, which is a much larger group, by the way, actually find it helpful that she's a good liar. That total group of people, if it's more than 50%, that's what she's going for.
Right.
So it doesn't matter that she's lying. As long as she can look everybody in the eye and say, of course I didn't lie. No. And if you listen to what Comey says, he'll agree with me that I didn't not lie ever at that one time, never. And if you add all those negatives together, you'll find that I was honest the whole time.
And not that I thought that I would do, and I'm trying to be as best as I can, and I never thought I would or could.
At the time.
Right.
At the time.
Right. So,
and I try to be as honest as I can when I can.
At the time that I can.
Right.
So getting back to leaders, a leader's greatest asset is confidence. Greatest asset, confidence. Now, a lot of people, because confidence has been misconstrued in our society, is arrogance, self-loathing, self-loathing, you're just so in love with yourself, and it's all about me, and that's your no, folks, confidence. Rush Limbaugh displays an extreme amount of confidence in what he does.
Right, when he tells you an interpretation of something that happened, he is like, well, this is what it is. He's not saying, I wonder if it's that. I mean, it's just, yeah. But, he presents it well. He's
a great storyteller.
And you know what else? He doesn't really tell people what to believe. He usually poses it as a question. And what he's doing is he's getting people to answer the question with what you want. He's basically telling his audience, you tell me.
Right.
You tell me.
Knowing that you're educated enough, knowing that you're going to give the right answer. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
He trusts his audience.
So when Trump gets out there and he's giving his speech and he's giving a talk, he's doing a town hall, the confidence that I've seen him display is phenomenal. The amount of confidence that he has to have to go up against the entire regime, both of them, all the parties, all the players involved, the amount of confidence he has to have in himself to not buckle under the weight, the stress, the pressure. He doesn't drink. He never drinks. He never smokes. I mean, just the amount of confidence that he has without having to rely on addictions or medication or other things is some of the best confidence I've ever seen. It's phenomenal. Something else, and one last thing I just want to put out there. The leader's greatest weight, and I didn't quite understand this until I read it. The leader's greatest weight is final responsibility. It's kind of strange, but he writes about this. John Maxwell writes about, during World War II, Dwight D. Eisenhower was responsible for planning the Allied invasion of France. He knew that thousands of young soldiers would be killed in the assault. He knew that the invasion would be a pivotal point in the war against Nazi Germany. Success would be a tremendous boost to the Allied cause, but failure would be a crushing blow. If they would have failed on the beaches of Normandy, I don't even know where we would be. Did it? It's just unfathomable.
Yeah, how do you even regroup after a failure there?
Okay, so at the very end of all of this, and he talks about this, he says Eisenhower had made up his mind in advance that he was going to bear the full responsibility for whatever happened. He was going to place blame on, he was not going to place blame on his advisors, bad weather, which they had, superior Nazi strength, which it's arguable, or any other contributing factor. It was his responsibility and his alone. As a leader, to be able to accept that, to take that in, and to know that that is all your fault. Anthony Robbins writes about this. If you want to stop, if you want to make your life better, if you want to have all the nice things, if you want to change, turn the corner, take responsibility for you and everyone around you. And you're like, no, I can't take responsibility for them. No. Think about it for 1 minute. You can't control them. You can't control your kids. You can't control anybody. However, take responsibility for them and act accordingly so that wouldn't happen. So that won't go down that road. Mm-hmm. Take responsibility for all the people around you. I'm telling you, it's very hard, but once you do it and you create that habit, it's phenomenal how people flock to you.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They start to look to you as the anchor in their life. Everybody needs, I shouldn't say everybody, but I'd say like 99.9% of people have somebody that they look to as being the person that they can accept as being kind of like their leader in a way. It could be any little given thing. Like you have your boss at work, but if you're involved with any kind of maybe a philanthropy, some sort of a charity or anything like that, there's like somebody in charge. They may be appointed there, might be a president of the organization or something like that. But those people assume responsibility. They take it, and all of a sudden, everybody looks to them, right?
Correct.
And that's how you get your leadership. And that's what Trump has done?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's an ad that Trump had put out. It was a clip of Ivanka speaking at the RNC. And this little 15-second snippet is really what you need to know. These are some of the little nuances that you need to know about Trump and his organization that has been going on for decades. He didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to run for president, and I have that ability. He hasn't been lying his entire life like Hillary has about the things that she has done, the people she killed or didn't kill. You know, he doesn't have to defend the fact that he's not from Canada. I'll just say that all these things, his entire life is an accumulation of all these things to become president, and this is his daughter. And other people have said it. I'm not the first to say this, but your children are a reflection of you.
Oh, yeah.
And this is his daughter.
This has long been the philosophy at the Trump Organization. At my father's company, there are more female than male executives.
Wow.
Women are paid equally for the work that we do, and when a woman becomes a mother, she is supported, not shut out.
How in the world is the left going to combat that?
Where's the bigoted, the homophobe? Well, I didn't want to homophobe, but where's the bigotry? Where's the bigotry? Where's the hate for women?
Oh, this whole war on women thing cannot be waged against Donald Trump.
It is virtually impossible. And you've seen, as we've seen, women have come out of the woodworks that normally don't come out vocally, speaking on Facebook and on Twitter and being very open and talking about Trump.
Okay, so you and I both agree that the Cruz crew, Never Trump people, they're what we call theoretical constitutionalists.
Correct.
And they have this really fundamentalist view of conservatism, right? And capitalism, too. Now, what would you say if they tried to argue, oh, great, that's all we need is another leftist progressive in office like Trump who thinks that everybody should pay women equally regardless if they're in the same position as men, and then give them all these special benefits for if they get pregnant and blah, blah, blah. And their argument would be that they should negotiate for whatever. Look at Rush Limbaugh. His argument is that if women were really worth more than what they're getting paid, then some savvy executive out there is going to hire nothing but women because they get more for their money.
Correct.
So what if they tried to say that Trump coming in with this background of paying women equal amounts, even though from a capitalist standpoint, it kind of shows that that's not the case. Because if you're a true capitalist, if women were worth more than what they're getting paid, then that's all people would hire. The smart capitalists would hire nothing but women, right?
Correct.
So what if they try to combat Trump that way?
I don't think they can.
Well, they can't be. I mean, they could call it what they say. He's a progressive. Oh, look at him. He's saying that everybody should be paid equally. He's just a progressive, just like we thought.
Well, it's funny if you listen to her words. They're paid. She said they're paid equally to the job they do.
Okay.
Well, if you are a secretary sitting next to your counterpart, male secretary, you're getting paid equally.
Well,
what you do? That male secretary may also have
Trump. If you work for Trump, right?
That male secretary may have extra responsibilities, and he will be paid for that.
Okay.
I mean, there's different levels. It's hard to quantify equal pay in a situation where, you're saying, oh, well, we both do. I do the same job that the guy next to me does. yet I get paid more. I show up early. I stay late. I work long hours. I mean, it's just a certain thing. I don't mess up parts, so he messes up parts. I mean, there's just certain levels. This whole equal pay, I'm done with. I'm done with it. However, to throw this in the liberals' face, is Ivanka saying,
oh, yeah,
more women in executive positions than men.
Oh, yeah.
That's quantifiable. You can show that on paper.
I guess an argument could be made that maybe Trump is putting it to the test. If the argument is, as Rush Limbaugh says, that if women, let's say they get paid, which we know is a myth. It's been totally debunked that the 76 cents per dollar that men make, they make 76 cents for every dollar that a man makes.
Right.
Has been debunked.
Correct.
But let's say that there might be something to that. Trump is putting it to the test by hiring more female executives than male. And maybe he's going to get more for his money. So he's actually going to put that to the test. And it might be, maybe that's a secret to his success.
Maybe.
All right. And
no.
And if it proves out, though, then
women will actually hold jobs, more jobs than men.
Right. And if it turns out that everybody was right the whole time, Trump looks like the hero because he proved it out.
Well, not only that, but men will negotiate for the same pay as that woman just to keep their job.
Okay.
So capitalism works once again.
Yeah, they get paid less because they're like, hey, I know you want $1 for the 76 cents that I'm paying this woman over here, but she's doing just as good as you, so I'm giving you 76 cents now. And what's he going to do?
You can either quit or accept.
Well, I'll get these bigots over here to pay me more.
Right. Oh, you mean those Democrats?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So check this out. This was Pence, and we're talking about Trump and Pence. This is Pence. Pence, long time Christian, family man, family values.
Very conservative.
Very conservative. He was at a rally when he was talking to the crowd, and a lady stood up. Listen very carefully. It's kind of tough to hear the audio, but listen very carefully. Her question, and I'll kind of read it if it sounds like we can't hear it very well. But I want you to see the interaction of Pence answering an attack question on Trump. The woman stood up and asked a question about Trump to Pence, and it was an attack question.
Whoa, wow.
That shouldn't have happened. Okay, she said, I'm a mother. I have a son in the military. How do you tolerate Trump's disrespect?
What kind of a question is that?
It was out of the blue.
Right off the bat, I would have said, okay, can you be more specific? That's what I would have said right off the bat. I would have said, can you please be more specific?
And so here's Pence. After the booze stopped, Pence said something amazing. Here's what Pence said. Folks, that's what freedom looks like, and that's what freedom sounds like.
That's what freedom looks like, and that's what freedom sounds like. Let me just say first, I want to honor your son's service to the country and your family's service to the country. I truly do, man.
Okay, so now he's flipped the script on her. Instead of attacking her, he's actually thanking her and coming to her.
And it's not just the person who's in the service that's sacrificing. It's also the family, which is true, especially if we're talking spouses and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, everybody is sacrificing when a family member is in because you want to get to see them and all that kind of stuff. So.
Right.
Having spent time with our nominee, I have never been around someone more devoted to the armed forces of this country, more devoted to the families of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marine, and Coast Guard, and no one more devoted to the veterans in this country. Donald Trump supports our soldiers and supports our veterans like no other leader in my lifetime.
Like no other leader in my lifetime. For the libs this whole week to be bashing Trump as a hater of the military because of this Muslim guy, Kaine, who is, in a sense, a con.
We talked about it last week.
He's a con with a K and a con with a C. Well, he came back out this week and continued bashing Trump.
Yeah, he's a member of the Muslim Brotherhood or a supporter of it. He's pretty much a spokesperson for CARE. We broke all this Sunday.
Right. And he's got strong ties with Saudi Arabia, and the Clinton Foundation has actually paid his law firm for services.
And his law firm was specifically set up with a website in order to help bring terrorists into America to take over and make America part of the overall caliphate.
Right. So for the left to use this, and this is a fact.
It's not my opinion. He had to rip down his website with the quickness.
Right. When Breitbart exposed the website, he had to rip it down. So for the left to use the highlight of their whole DNC convention, they propped up a con named Khan.
A terrorist. For the
right,
most part.
a terrorist.
Or at least a terrorist spokesperson.
And supporter.
Supporter and spokesperson.
Okay,
yep.
This is the number one speaker of the DNC. Literally, this is all, he got 50 times more publicity and more airtime than the woman who lost her son in Benghazi.
Right.
That spoke at the RNC.
How about the people that actually fought in Benghazi and they talked for like an hour?
Right. Nobody talked about it.
That was probably me having served in the Marine Corps and everything like that. Of the entire RNC convention, I was the most riveted to those guys walking through. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I was shocked at how long they spoke.
Right.
Because I was looking at the time and I'm like, doesn't whatever the keynote was that evening, they're going to run out of time. They're going to be speaking at 3 a.m. because they were going on. They were definitely taking their time telling the story. But I was really riveted by it. And these guys were just buried.
Right.
They had prime time. They were 8 o'clock.
And originally,
8 o'clock at night.
Originally, Trump was supposed to speak at 8, and it got pushed all the way back to like 10.
Yeah, it was riveting. Those guys. I mean, these guys were talking about the results of the decision-making of our Secretary of State at the time, which was Hillary Clinton.
Correct.
And it resulted in the abandonment of our soldiers, who then ended up getting all shot up and maimed and left to die because – and she knew it. It's not like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was going to result in all that. No. She knew what was going on, and she ordered to stand down, and it ended up it's one thing to have your decisions end up being resulting in the deaths of people, but they were still alive.
I mean, think about Eisenhower. He knew that there were men going to die underneath him.
Right.
Okay, he had to deal with that, and he had to live with that, but there was a final result, an end cause, a reason for what we're doing.
But the deaths on his part were not due directly to him abandoning them.
Correct, and that was my whole point.
Right.
She walked away from live personnel.
Yes!
That were alive.
They were alive!
To allow Ambassador Christopher Stevens, and I'm still shocked about this. There's some people I talked to today that don't know that he was raped by Muslims.
Nobody knows that. You broke that to me. No idea.
Beaten, raped, and murdered and drugged through the streets.
Yeah, I didn't know that until you broke. And to this day, I almost never see that.
Rush mentioned it, and Glenn Beck was all over it, but Rush has mentioned it. He had made mention, but he doesn't talk about it that much, and I don't know why. But folks, you need to know the.
Well, I think the reason it's not brought up much about him being supposedly raped and all that kind of stuff is because he was, when he was alive. Well, he was gay, wasn't he? Ambassador Stevens was a gay man. And so the whole thing about whether or not he was raped or not might be ambiguous.
No, you can't. Not when you're being attacked and brutally. I mean, there's a difference between
that, but they don't know whether injuries sustained were from the actual attack or from his lifestyle. Is
that conjecture?
Totally.
Oh,
that's totally conjecture. I mean, I'm just saying, there's no. Woo! You don't know for sure. It's just it could be.
Well, when you got Muslims running around screaming and bragging about how.
Well, now if they were bragging about it, then there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Right? No, it was a fact. It was a fact that this did occur.
Okay.
Raped and murdered.
And there you go.
And she allowed it to continue. The air base that I was stationed at in Aviano, Italy, they said, and we had at all times we had 43 F-16s at all times ready for airstrike at a moment's notice.
And their argument is, Oh, we would have never got there in time. Well, actually, that's not true.
They're saying an hour and 45 minutes out. They said they could have been could have been there within a couple hours.
Yeah, and so this is not our opinion. It would be. I would tell you if it's just our opinion based on our experience in the military that we think they could have got there. There were people whose job it would have been to go save them who said, "Why are we giving the stand down order?"
Right. And you know, in a Trump organization, that would never happen because of the amount of leadership and the amount of care that he has for the military is just, it's through the roof and it's phenomenal.
And one last thing, too. This probably would have never happened if they had pulled out when all the rest of the people pulled out of Libya, which was months before that. They pulled out their ambassadors because it's just turning into a war zone. Right. So this is too dangerous. So they pulled out. America was like the last one left, and they're all wondering, the people that were left behind, like, why are we still here?
Well, Ambassador Stevens even wrote an email to Hillary, and in the military or in the government, there's a language that's used. And a lot of times, if we speak that language, and I've been out of the military for so long, if somebody starts speaking to me with that language as if they're still fresh in, there's a lot of things I forgot.
No, it'll come back. You know, when I did the interview with Gary Byrne, it was like riding a bike, man.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
We got right back into it.
So he writes, Ambassador Stevens writes Hillary an email in June, months before September, saying that, hey, the English have pulled out their trucks or pulled out their thing. He used a term. And she replied back, what are you talking about? We don't have anything like that. And the whole point was, no, I'm referring to us. I'm telling you about the English. They've pulled out, and I'm telling you we need to pull out our trucks. She's like, trucks? What are you talking about, trucks? We don't have any trucks over there. And it just shows the absolute ignorance of what was happening between her and the entire thing in Benghazi.
Well, what it boils down to, and I'm not just going to single out Obama and single out Hillary, but they are definitely glaring examples of it. But in general, when the Democrats are in charge, it's not about being in charge of anything. It's about holding a prestigious position.
Yes.
There's no responsibility.
No, yes, correct.
It's like Obama taking all these jet setting all over the world and taking vacations. And in between vacations, spending all the rest of his time on the golf course.
Hundreds of millions. And that's the thing, too. If you look at somebody it was given to for free, they will never respect it and they will squander it.
Yeah, he goes from being a community organizer. They give him, they're like, hey, we want you to be president. We think you can do it, but you're never going to be elected till you got to take these steps. So the next step is we'll give you the senator position. And so he was handed on a silver platter the senator position, much like Rahm Emanuel. When they need to get rid of Rahm Emanuel, they're like, how about this? Let's negotiate. What do you want? I want to be mayor. Right. Oh, well, we can give you mayor of Chicago. Okay, I'll take mayor of Chicago.
Whatever it takes. And Obama's Senate run was against another Democrat, and he literally destroyed that Democrat in his entire life. Destroyed his entire life
because it needed to happen. Because he's just a community organizer. He had no experience of anything.
So he destroyed, and this is what the left is trying to do. This whole thing we're talking about right now, hour 2, this whole thing we're talking about is knowing that you got to go back to the basics when you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling defeated. If you felt defeated this week, go back to the basics.
You should feel good now. And we're going to talk about the whole Ryan I
got it on the list.
Yeah. That's something that a lot of diehard Trump supporters are, and those that are never Trumpers, but they're on the fence. They're not really never Trumpers. They're like, not really Trump right now. Hashtag.
Right. Oh, Lord.
Hashtag not quite there yet.
Is that? Don't even tell me.
I just made that up right now, but that should be a hashtag.
Holy smoke, that's trending.
Is it trending?
Because you said it.
Just because I said it. Oh, my gosh. Hashtag Smith Radio. Hashtag 5 o'clock Sundays. So, anyway. The thing about Paul Ryan is that he's the quintessential rhino at this point. He's not quite the McConnells and the McCains, but he's right there, man. He's really close. He's right dancing on the edge of being that bad.
He in my books, would be considered the Benedict Arnold, the turncoat, the traitor, the liar.
Yeah,
I mean, there is no to hand Obama a $4 trillion budget that automatically put us $2 trillion in debt
right off the bat.
And Obama praised Paul Ryan as somebody he can work with. In my mind, you're a traitor. You might as well be a Democrat.
Right, and it's just shocking because when he first got on the scene, he's been around, but we didn't really know much about him until he became the VP candidate back in 2012. And the first thing that was said about him was that, he's the Tea Party favorite.
Oh.
And sure enough, he went around and he sounded very conservative. He sounded like he had conservative principles. And it turns out, he sounded believable. Brian and I went and saw him live. Sounded pretty believable, right?
Oh, yeah.
But turns out, he's a very good liar.
Very good liar, and will go where the money is.
Right. So he's going up against a guy named Paul Nehlen. Nehlen. It's N-E-H.
And Ann Coulter is running Wisconsin, championing Paul Nehlen.
And a lot of Trumpsters are. And even Bill Mitchell points out that he's the canary in the coal mine. And if he beats Ryan, we're looking huge
and the
landslide.
And the fact that Trump even gave him a half-hearted endorsement, is whether Ryan loses or wins, it's irrelevant.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about because I'm still a little bit stumped on the whole thing. I understand. My initial reaction was, and same thing with a lot of diehard Trump people are, why would you endorse Ryan? My initial reaction is, why endorse Ryan before he wins his primary? It sounded like he was pressured into doing it on a week when he was having supposedly a really bad week. He must have been under a lot of stress. There were probably establishment people that said, hey, I see you're having a bad week this week, Trump. We will bail you out. We'll make it all happen if you just endorse Ryan, endorse McCain, come on over to the dark side, and we will make it happen.
And then there was
we'll make this all go away.
And then the female senator. There's another one. Breitbart referred to it as the trifecta.
Oh, okay.
There's a third one.
A third one. Okay, whatever. So it seems like he was selling his soul here, right?
You would think.
And then, of course, it looks like he's throwing Paul Nehlen under the bus.
Right.
Because the primary's not even here yet. The primary's on Tuesday.
Right.
So we will find out Wednesday morning whether or not the canary in the coal mine died. But so Paul Nehlen has got to beat Paul Ryan on Tuesday, or at least we're hoping. Why would Trump endorse Paul Ryan this early?
Twofold. I think there's many-fold. First fold, Trump came out and verbalized it. He said that we are the Big Tent Reagan party. We are like the Reagan party, the Big Tent party. Everybody's welcome. Something that Trump has to do, which you and I and none of us may like it, Trump cannot become president by slaying every Republican we hate.
Okay. So
it can't be possible.
You're saying that the big payoff here is party unity.
More unity, and the show of attempted unity, which the rhinos keep screaming, "You're not coming to the table." And these rhinos are easily fooled. That's no problem. All right, I'm at the table. Now we're at the table. Everybody sees me at the table.
They said that
we got unity now.
They said that he read his endorsement of Paul Ryan from a piece of paper during the Olympic opening ceremony, and he read it with the enthusiasm that you would read a ransom note with.
You mean Obama's ransom? Yeah, okay. Obama read the ransom note.
Yeah, in honor of the ransom paid by Obama. I'm going to read this endorsement of Paul Ryan. Oh, so yeah. So he endorsed him, and it was kind of half-hearted. Before he endorsed him, he was asked to endorse him, and he said, "I'm not just there, or I'm not there yet. I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet." And that echoed almost the exact words of Paul Ryan, who, when asked if he would endorse Trump, several weeks earlier, he said, "I'm just not there yet." So clearly, that was a shot across the bow of Paul Ryan. It was in retaliation for how he was treated.
Well, Paul Ryan referred to this endorsement. It's like, well, thanks, appreciate it.
At one point, Trump was like, "We don't need your endorsement," and he did say that about Cruz.
Oh yeah,
he went so far as to say, "You know what? If Cruz endorses me, I'm not even going to accept it."
Nope.
Wow.
No, you could take that back. Wow. Cruz has okay. Let's compare this. Cruz has done the ultimate and fallen on the sword. He has committed what they refer to in Japan as
falling on your sword.
Hirikiri.
I don't know the actual
Hirikiri,
words.
Which means to fall on your own sword because of you've disrespected your family and everybody around you. Mm-hmm. Just go ahead, fall on your own sword and die.
That happened a lot at the very end of World War II. Lots of suicide by sword to the stomach.
So what Paul Ryan has done by not keeping his pledge, by not endorsing Trump, is created disunity. It's created this separation in the party. Okay, Cruz, go ahead and go your own way. Trump, on the other hand, I know there's a lot of us Tea Party guys that really, really despise Paul Ryan because we know what he's all about. Mm-hmm. However, you would be shocked to know how many people have no clue about Paul Ryan. And they love him, and he's so cute. I'm glad he shaved his beard, but I still think he's cute, and I like him.
Because he's cute.
Whatever it be. Okay. There's a lot of people who have, they have this feelings for, okay, Paul Ryan's good. There's nothing wrong with Paul Ryan. He's all right.
I think he is a jerk.
But my whole point is, you're pulling by endorsing Paul Ryan, you're pulling in the rest of the party that is nuts.
So look at this strategically. Let's say by some chance, which would be so awesome, Ryan loses on Tuesday to Paul Nealon.
You know what Trump should do?
If he loses?
Yeah.
What?
And Nealon wins.
Yeah.
Fly a plane out there, meet up with Nealon. Have a big old party.
But here's my problem.
Prop him up.
My problem is how's that? By the way, Paul Nealon's response to the Paul Ryan endorsement by Trump was so classy.
Right.
He, I don't have the actual quote in front of me, but he basically said, "I totally understand it, and I understand why he did it, and
why he had to do it."
Well, yeah. Why? Because he was having such a bad week. No. He was really classy about it, and it's very interesting. So if Paul Nealon pulls off the Cantor style upset,
oh yeah,
of those kind of proportions, I mean, doesn't it make Trump look bad though that he picked the wrong guy?
No.
Okay.
I personally don't think so, because I know why he did what he did.
Or, and you'll have to explain that in a second. Or did he pick Ryan to endorse at this point because it's already a done deal, because the numbers are so skewed? Are the numbers so bad for Paul Nealon that Trump said, "Well, let's go with a winner"? The answer to that,
I don't think so.
I think it's closer than anybody thinks.
Right.
And I think that the truth is that. So, what is the real reason?
The real reason, and even Breitbart wrote an article about this, said, "Endorse Paul now, deal with him later." Okay. We have information that Trump made a deal and said, "All right, I'm going to tell you something right now.
I'm going to tell you something.
I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
Say hello to my little friend." No, not that deal.
No, that he made a deal.
Should I walk through the timeline?
Yes.
Okay, so nobody knew about this, and nobody thought there was anything significant about it, but then it all added up. The day before Trump endorsed Paul Ryan, Ryan very quietly and very secretly and very under the radar came out and said, I'm going to go ahead and just tell y'all we're going to not bring up the TPP bill to the floor during the lame duck session, so it will not be brought up until the next presidency. And his reason at the time was, it's just a waste of time anyway because it doesn't have the votes. It never had the votes. It was never going to pass, so we're not going to waste any more time with it. I'm just going to tell you no TPP. So he really downplayed it. Really downplayed it.
So the Republicans control the House and the Senate. Mm-hmm. And TPP is that Trans-Pacific Partnership that trade the horrible, awful trade deal.
Which, by the way,
that would allow foreign companies to sue American companies, foreign governments and foreign companies to sue American companies and take money from them for expected potential losses.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Expected?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Well, you know what NAFTA is. NAFTA is being told by
North
us
American trade.
It's being told by us by Trump as being one of the worst deals we ever made. And it's cost millions and millions of American jobs and all this kind of stuff. TPP is like the Asian version of NAFTA.
It's the rest of the world version. NAFTA is this continent, America's.
Yeah.
TPP is the rest of the world against America.
Okay.
So we just have Canada and Mexico against us now.
Well, they say Trans-Pacific Partnership, so I hear it all the time as being the NAFTA for Asia. Okay. But if it goes all the way to Europe, whatever. So that's what that's supposed to be. Which you're talking trade with China and all the other Asian countries all along the Pacific coast and all around, probably even Australia and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, if it was bad, if NAFTA was bad, this would be bad too, right? I mean, that's how it goes, right? So he downplays this. And Brian, maybe you can agree or disagree with me. We'll have more and more discussions about this. But wasn't this something that pretty much all the establishment, including establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats, were all for? Like, this thing had bipartisan support amongst the elites against the American worker, of course.
Correct.
So him saying that, oh, this was never going to pass anyway, it didn't have the support, so what? He's actually lying about that. The lie is in order to trick the American public into believing that him making this announcement was not significant at all. Because it wasn't going to pass.
Right.
But he's lying.
Of course.
It had bipartisan support amongst the elites.
And the Democrats.
Yeah.
I mean, the Democrats were all. Yeah.
Democrats and establishment Republicans. They want this thing done.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump has been saying, whoa, we can't do this TPP thing.
And ironically, Paul Ryan was on board with TPP, praising it back in the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for him to all of a sudden, out of the blue, say, you know, this bipartisan deal that every elite, both in the House, the Senate, the Democrats, Republicans, all about, the only people that don't want this thing done are the elected officials that are actually listening to the people who don't like NAFTA. These are the only people that oppose it. I'm not going to bring it to the floor right now, even though I liked it. I'm not going to bring it to the floor until after the lame duck session is over. We have a new president and blah, 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 right? The very next day, Trump endorses him. Which means that's the deal.
Correct.
The deal was,
I'll endorse you
if you promise not to bring TPP up until after the new president.
So he drops TPP before Trump endorses.
Right, and he really downplayed it. And the media went right along with him.
Did you see how... this is the deal maker. This is the art of the deal.
This guy has done things that a president does before he's even elected.
Okay. ABC, always be closing. Trump is closing the deal, assuming the position of leadership, the 10-point plan to revamp the VA, that came out. His economic plan is international. I mean, the trade plan, the deals, the things that he's laying out, these are ideologies that are put into play when you become president that we all can agree upon as a free, sovereign nation with protection and walls and stuff. I mean, he is absolutely walking the line. To the end of that line would be the president of the United States. Hillary Clinton, she's all over the map like a drunken, a drunk driver that's been drinking for
in the White House.
She's been drinking for 17 hours straight. She's going to drive herself home.
Oh,
yeah. She is all over she's going the wrong way at times. She's lying about where she's going. She's lying about where she's been.
Speaking of which, should we go ahead and announce what the new policy is that Mike Cervich pointed out?
Hold on, real quick. Just to wrap up the TPP. Okay. The TPP includes Australia, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, and Vietnam.
So
not
Asian.
So not China.
Oh, really? Not
okay. Not China.
We already have all the deals we need with China, right? I mean, they create all of our products, right?
Yeah, or they now make General Motors vehicles.
Oh, that's so messed up.
I keep reminding people of these things. The new GM, I believe it's the Buick. One of GM's new vehicles is being made in China. Government Motors, take the bailout money and go to a cheaper country with no unions and make your cars.
So it's so cheap to make it in China that the shipping to get it back to America, worked into the price of the car, still makes it cheaper than if they make it in America.
Correct. And I want to give a shout out to Sam. Thank you, Sam. Sam give us a heads up on the China thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he gives us good information. So Mike Cervich decided, what do you think of this? He said this Clinton Cash thing. You saw Clinton Cash, right? It's being pushed hard by Breitbart.
Let me tell you.
Breitbart wants everybody to see Clinton Cash, and you know what? Everybody should see Clinton Cash. Let's just get that out on the floor right now.
In the first couple of days, I had 1 million views.
Okay. Mike Cervich has a new thing now where Clinton Cash, we need to stop talking about it. We need to stop using it to bash Hillary Clinton. We need to stop talking about it altogether.
What?
He said it's not working. It's a failed narrative.
Wow.
He said instead of focusing on these scandals, we should be focusing on the fact that she has some serious medical issues.
When you said that earlier in the show, I went straight to Twitter and check out the Twitter. I typed in #H.
Yeah.
And what's trending is handball, Harry Potter, Happy Soup Day.
Okay.
And hockey.
Okay.
The letter I.
Okay.
H-I.
H-I.
First one, Hillary's health.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's
First
the new narrative.
One.
Do you think that Mike drove that, or do you think that he's just on the bandwagon? I don't know.
Oh, no. Does it matter?
Actually, it doesn't. It doesn't. I'm glad it's I guarantee you Mike is glad it's trending, because I think he's onto something there. Because, I mean, let's get to the basics. Why go so highbrow? Why go so complicated and connect all these convoluted dots that paint this overall picture of Clinton being so corrupt and so evil and doing things that are putting into question her morals and all this kind of stuff, right? When all we have to do is say, hey, we're trying to elect the leader of the United States of America, who will probably be the leader for the next 8 years. And the person we're going up against right now clearly has health issues that aren't just limited to, oh, she needs a walker, oh, she needs a wheelchair. We're talking possibly some psychological disorders, brain damage, or strokes that lead to Jacksonian seizures.
Yikes!
And this is a person that's supposed to get a phone call at 3 a.m. that Benghazi is under attack. And then the lies. You know, when she says that she never lied and all this stuff that you say sound like lies aren't in fact lies. But if you listen to what I said to Comey and you listen to what Comey said, you could see that he's always said the same thing, which which is that I've never said a lie, which is a lie in and of itself.
Not that I meant to, that I thought I didn't.
It's not that it's not just that she's a sociopath. We know she's a sociopath. It's not just that she's a sociopath. It's that she has brain damage. And we're asking a brain damaged person to be the next president of the United States.
They've even talked about when she was on giving testimony about Benghazi and some of the other things. They were talking about her glasses that she wears.
Oh, that was a while ago. The black glasses with the quadruple.
Well, they have.
It's like a kaleidoscope.
It has these lines in the glasses that someone would wear, and they went into the great description about the glasses she was wearing, but that someone would wear that has brain injury or has issues with, eyes wandering or falling down or just the the instability. I agree 100%.
Sam just said that he thinks it's Parkinson's. There have been several people on Twitter that say it's not Parkinson's, that it's Jacksonian seizures, which is consistent with her history of strokes. I've seen a lot of people, I'm a boxing fan. I'm a big boxing fan. Plus I like Michael J. Fox. So I look at the early stages of what Michael J. Fox was going through, and then Muhammad Ali, and then some of these other boxers over the years that have suffered from Parkinson's. And I'm just not seeing it with Hillary at all. I don't think it's Parkinson's. But what she has, basically the symptoms I'm seeing, which they're saying is consistent with histories of strokes, Jacksonian seizures, that sounds a little bit more like what she's going through. All that coughing and choking and stuff like that, what do you make of that?
Oh, that's the devil. Every time, my daughters and I, we have this joke every time someone coughs.
Okay,
it's God's way of letting us know that they're lying.
Oh, really?
It's the devil in them coming out.
Well, then that's why she's like choking to death over there. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so you need to definitely look up Jacksonian seizures and see what that's all about. And I actually have to do a little bit more research myself, but I'm just not seeing the Parkinson's. And by the way,
hold on. Okay, right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mike Cervich, you want to follow him on Twitter? It's at CERNOVICH. Mike Cervich. He just posted on Twitter just now. He said it shows a picture of Hillary Clinton with her trunk legs and Secret Service right next to her, walking next to her. And
at least we think Mike doesn't think that that's a Secret Service agent, or at least he said that in other posts.
Okay, so she's walking next to a guy who looks like he's part of her entourage or her group,
right?
And it says, "What is in his right hand? Why would an SS agent carry an ink pen? Looks like a disguised adrenaline injector."
Adrenaline?
Yeah, because when she falls out, the only thing to save her is to jack her with adrenaline.
Straight to the heart, like Pulp Fiction
style? Yes!
Oh, I almost stabbed myself in the heart with this thing. That was from The Rock.
Yeah.
Remember The Rock?
Yeah.
Oh, man, no way. That's so funny. Okay, so I was trying to get a word from Gary Byrne, who was a Secret Service agent, because Mike Cernovich said, I don't think that is a Secret Service agent.
Well, we've seen him at the Trump rallies, and he doesn't have an earpiece. He doesn't have the handpiece. It doesn't look like it.
It's hard to say because a lot of them don't. They don't necessarily, I don't think, have an exact uniform. Some of them are just in suits.
Oh, sorry. That is an SS agent. He's got an earpiece.
Well, I mean, okay, he has an earpiece. I think he's a Secret Service agent. I think he is. But why would he have a pen? Is it an epi?
It's an injector.
An injector?
Yeah. Adrenaline, man.
It might be the remote control since she's a robot.
Oh!
Did you see the scene where he's telling her, he's ordering her to keep talking?
No.
You didn't see that?
No. What?
Oh, this was a huge controversy. Huge. So apparently a protest breaks out in the crowd. And all of the Secret Service agents rush to her side. And she stops talking and she has this look on her face that has got everybody freaked out. Like, look at that look on her face.
Well, you mean that normal look where she freaks everybody out?
Yeah, but this one's really caught a lot of people's attention.
Okay.
So she's obviously distracted, and the Secret Service agents are trying to assess the situation. And that guy that you were just looking at on that picture is standing next to her and says, keep talking, keep talking. And immediately, and you got to keep in mind, his mouth is not close enough to the microphone to hear him clearly. I should say loudly, but you could clearly hear him say, keep talking, Mrs. Clinton, or whatever he said. Keep talking. And she then, with her mouth right there in front of the microphone, says, okay, we'll keep talking then. Like, she was so distracted, all she could do was repeat what he said.
Wow.
Yeah. So that led to a lot of speculation as to who is that guy. And I'm going to be honest with you. I read Gary Burns' book, Crisis of Character, and I'm going to tell you right now, the Secret Service people are scared to death of her. This guy looked like he was in charge of her. And normally she's the one screaming and cussing out Secret Service agents. And
wow, that's
this guy,
amazing.
Do you have it? You got it.
We got something coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think do you have it? Is this it?
It's a couple of minutes long.
Oh, well, I guess you could play it and see if you can find it, but you find it yet?
We skip through it to the
biggest investment in new
Is this the
jobs
one where
that we've had since World War II.
Yeah, they're saying Clinton freezes in fear.
Somebody wants to be for Trump because they're anxious, they're fearful, maybe they're angry because there's a lot.
Her voice is like, dude, look at her face right there. Dude, they need to add some orange to that.
They need to put some color in it. Yeah.
She does not. She looks sick. It looks like she just got out of the hospital.
She's
to
probably
be
living
concerned about. We need to talk.
Oh.
We need to talk because we don't want
Maybe
you
it's at the end.
being
Is it
sold
at the
the
end?
same
Why would
bill
they
of
put
goods that the
whoever's
students who signed up to go to Trump University
Yeah,
were
you need to
sold.
go to the end or something.
We don't want you to be
Oh, here
left
it
in the
is.
same
Oh, it's actually in the
position
beginning.
as. Okay, we'll keep talking.
Yes.
You handle it. We're not going anywhere. Keep talking. You handle it. We're not going anywhere.
Okay, here we are.
She does not know what to say. We're here.
Okay, we'll keep talking.
She said
And
twice.
Yeah,
and
multiple times.
apparently these people are here to protest Trump because Trump and his kids have killed a lot of animals. So thank you for making that point.
Thanks for that lie. Thanks for that lie.
Trump and his kids have killed a lot of animals?
Let's just make stuff up. We'll keep talking, and we got to keep talking. And when it comes to talking, it's all about lies. So let's just lie.
So check this out. Earlier this week, Trump was on his private aircraft, one that he earned, bought, and paid for, and he was celebrating with a bucket of KFC. Did you see that? It was a picture of Trump.
Yeah. It was almost like he was tying together the other picture of him eating a taco bowl on Cinco de Mayo.
Right. And then he likes McDonald's. I don't know how he stays.
There's a McDonald's one.
I don't know how he stays in good health if he actually eats this stuff.
It's just props.
It's got to be. Because they'll take the picture, they'll throw it away. He gets a check from KFC.
And McDonald's.
And
whatever Mexican joint.
So they're like, okay, okay, cut. All right, we're done. They move everything off into a giant garbage can, and then what comes out? Salad, fresh chicken, raspberries, cranberry, all the fixings to like just a gourmet salad.
Okay.
I don't know how you would not stay in health. He's in good shape.
He's 70. He knows how to digest.
Okay, so I don't know if is Milo back on Twitter?
Oh no, not that I know of.
So this is Nimble Navigator. Is that like a fake?
It's probably a fake.
Anyways, they posted a picture here. CNN has time to simulate Trump eating KFC, but none to address Hillary's major health problems. Hillary is being handled. Her arms, she's being propped up. She's being walked up into a house.
When my grandmother, and you remember my grandmother Ruby, when she was in her mid-80s, that's how we had to handle her. In order to get her upstairs,
right,
we had to grab her by, like, one guy would grab her one arm,
right,
and on the other side, one of us would have the other arm, and that's how we got her upstairs. She's only, what somebody say, 68?
Yeah, she's not 70 yet. No.
So she's obviously, look, 68 is not a spring chicken. You're not a spring chicken at 68. But you shouldn't need 2 adult males helping you up. You know, are you playing the? Brian's looking at
Tim McCain.
Oh, Tim Kaine. I mean, not Mick Kaine. Tim.
My wife asked if Kaine. She said, "Is he part of McCain's family?"
Oh yeah, that's his twin brother.
Probably could be. They share the same views.
Oh well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me because
Tim Kaine. And I'm sorry to jump around. This is breaking Sunday news. Tim Kaine comes out and says, "Being Hillary Clinton's running mate feels like being kidnapped."
No, he doesn't. That's got to be a lie. No, did he really say that?
I mean, it's.
Wow, that's hilarious. See, Sunday.
Okay, asked by Senator Debbie, Democrat, Michigan, what it was like to be Clinton's running mate. He responded, "It feels like I got kidnapped."
You know what? Maybe he's trying to raise $400 million by the Obama administration.
Oh, Lord have
He will get that ransom for sure.
It'll be out in the mail. Hey, checks in the mail.
No. It's palletized.
Oh. Okay, so since we've jumped the shark and we've skipped over to
if we get to Kaine,
the Clinton thing, I've got that soundbite for Kaine.
Yes.
You know the one you wanted me to play?
Well, hold on.
You want to set it up?
Do you have the soundbite of Hillary lying about lying? Do you have any of that? Because that's really what he's talking about.
Okay, this is Hillary Clinton earlier this week.
Director Comey said that only 3 out of 30,000 had anything resembling classified markers. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? What do you mean resembling?
Okay. When Comey was in front of Trey Gowdy, Comey responded to Trey Gowdy and said that there were dozens and dozens of emails that had to be sent to the various departments for them to respond to those batches and verify whether what the classification of security is.
Okay. And these were unmarked at the time?
No, they sent them off to those departments to verify their classification.
Okay.
So for her to say there were 3 that had markers?
Not that they had markers.
That
they resembled classified. But we don't know yet, so we have to go and investigate that.
Right, okay.
Resemble. I'm not even going to
right, yeah.
Director Comey said that only 3 out of 30,000 had anything resembling classified markers. What does that mean? Well, usually, if any of you have ever served in the government,
I have.
A classified document has a big heading on the top.
No, stop right there. Whoa. She said anybody that served in the government. No, what she means is anybody that's watched a Hollywood movie that has classified documents in the movie, what you'll notice is huge red rubber stamp, huge top secret. That's what she's relying on. She's relying on people who do not serve in, because think about it. The percentage of people that have never served in any part of the government far exceeds the number of people that actually served. However, the number of people who have never seen a movie that has a prop in it that's supposed to look like a classified document.
Tom Cruise and
Mission Impossible.
Look at it says top 6,
really
huge,
big,
bold, giant 72 font.
Like the actual cover of the packet, is nothing but top secret with the rectangle box around it.
For your eyes only.
For your eyes only. Huge And will
self-destruct and spontaneously combust in 2 minutes.
And for all you low information voters out there, or people that are high information voters that don't know this stuff, I'm going to give you a break by saying I actually thought that too. I actually thought that all of them were stamped that way. It wasn't until this particular case with Clinton did I learn that they classify things with these little acronyms or little letters in one little corner.
Markers.
And little markers. And you're supposed to be able to identify them. And furthermore, if they're not marked, they could be classified anyway simply by the content in them.
Right.
Even if they're not marked.
Correct.
Because you're supposed to already know, based on the content, whether or not it's classified or not. And so it doesn't even have to be marked.
Correct.
That being said, for her to sit there and say that is an appeal to people to remember what they've seen in all the 007 movies.
Right.
Literally.
Right. Yes.
She's not talking about, for all of you guys who have served in the government. No. She's not talking to them. Because if you did serve in the government, or if you do know about this stuff or learned about this stuff, you know she's lying. Because the truth is that she's hoping to tap into all the people that have never served in government who watch Hollywood movies.
Makes very clear what the classification is. And so what we have here is pretty much what I have been saying throughout this whole year, and that is that I never sent or received anything that was marked.
What was that?
It jumped over it.
How did that happen?
To liar.
Was that on purpose?
I don't know.
Whoa.
It went to the next clip.
It went straight to liar.
Went straight to liar.
From Henry Rollins. So what was she about to say?
She's doubling down, saying that I'm saying the same thing that Comey said.
Did the clip?
I can restart it, but she's saying the same thing. She said Comey said what he said that I said is what's said.
We'll go back to where we left.
Director Comey said that only 3 out of 30,000 was marked classified.
That's it.
What I have been saying throughout this whole year, and that is that I never sent or received anything that was marked classified.
That's a bona fide lie.
That is so brazen. As long as I say it, it's going to be truth.
Well, and here's the ad that Trump put out this week. This is the ad.
Okay. Extremely careless. Email system was breached by hostile actors. Gross negligence.
Hillary Clinton put our national security at risk, and she's still lying.
Director Comey said that my answers were truthful.
That's not true. Even the Washington Post says Hillary Clinton lied, comparing her to Pinocchio.
I may have short-circuited it, and for that,
Careless.
Wow, what is that all about? She said, I may have short-circuited, but
glitch? Anyone?
I'm telling you, everybody made that ended Rubio. It ended
the glitch.
Yeah.
And then he owned it at one time. Oh, he's like, yeah. I'm just speaking the truth to power. So as I'm saying, I'm speaking truth to power. As I'm saying, I'm speaking
So he was
glitch.
Making fun of himself.
Glitch, yeah.
For her to say that I short-circuited when we've now shifted the narrative to her being brain damaged.
Right.
To the point where it's adversely affecting her decision-making and judgment is breathtaking. I mean, I hope it's going to be the end of her. So I think I actually I'm all for the change of narrative because we're going to go back to the basics, right? That's what it boils down to. Get back to the basics. It's about, is she fit to serve? Sure, she's corrupt. Sure, she's taken millions and millions of dollars from foreign companies in response for favors to them when she becomes president. So it becomes money on. It's like a come back. Right. It's like money on the come.
So Tim Kaine supposed to be propping her up,
defending her,
propping her. Some way has to keep the Pinocchio rolling.
Yeah, so F. Chuck Todd. I can't stop calling him F. Chuck Todd.
That is his name.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Well, Frank is his first name.
Yeah.
Right. Frank Charles. Chuck Todd asked her, do you have the whole clip or just her
I've
answer?
got the whole clip.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's listen to...
Because Chuck actually gets into it and then breaks in. And you kind of go back.
Well, he was trying to he was trying to lob an underhanded softball to Tim Kaine. Like, can you help us out? We need to elect Hillary, and we need to get past the fact that it's pretty clear that she's lying through her teeth. Can you offer us the narrative that will help us to understand this to be palatable for the voters?
She didn't really help herself last weekend when, on another Sunday show, she was asked about the email situation and what Director Comey said. And I want to play, actually, a back and forth for you to listen to and get you to respond on the other side. It's
Okay. The back and forth has a couple of different, not necessarily Comey and Hillary, but Hillary speaks first. Then it goes to a whole nother different clip of Comey, and then kind of back and forth. So stay with it, though.
Both Secretary Clinton and Director Comey. Here it is.
I had not sent classified material nor received anything marked classified.
And FBI Director James Comey said none of those things that you told the American public were true.
Chris, that's not what I heard Director Comey say.
Secretary Clinton said I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email. There is no classified material. Was that true?
There was classified material emailed.
Director Comey said that my answers were truthful and what I've said is consistent with what I have told the American people.
Did Hillary?
Okay, now hold on. Here's the question. They're going back to Chaffetz, back to Comey, and that he's going to refer to what she just said about the statements she's saying to the public.
Hillary Clinton lie to the FBI? We have no basis to conclude she lied to the FBI.
Did she lie to the public?
That's a question I'm not qualified to answer. I can speak about what she said to
That
the
means
FBI.
yes, by the way. Let me ask you, Senator Kaine. She seems to be conflating what she said to the FBI and what she said to the American public. Can you conclude here whether or not Secretary Clinton lied to the American public about sending and receiving classified email?
Okay, what he just did, what F. Chuck just did, Comey said she didn't lie to the FBI. And Comey said, I'm not qualified.
He didn't actually say she didn't lie to the FBI.
She said, I'm not qualified to give you that answer.
No. He didn't say that she didn't lie to the FBI. He said we have no evidence to come to the conclusion that she lied. So
right, because I didn't.
So it's possible.
Right, I didn't interview her, and we don't know who did.
And we don't know
there was no record of it.
And we don't know if the answers she did give were definitely lies.
Right.
We just know that we don't have any evidence right now that
the interview was not recorded and it was not notated. However, Comey claims that it was done on the up and up.
At this point, there's no proof that you can provide to me that she lied, so I am going to leave that as my answer.
Correct. What about the public? Oh, that I'm not qualified.
I'm not qualified because I don't have the clip in front of me.
So now F. Chuck goes to Kaine to sew it up.
Yeah, what would his answer should be?
Kaine would be like, no, she never lied to the American people. Come on, man. I'm with her all the time. I know what she's saying. She never lied to the public. That's what he should say.
Well, then he would be lying. Then he could take the flack.
Right. Well, everybody takes the fall for Hillary.
Yeah.
And then you get a job with the Clinton Foundation like Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Well, let's see what he has to say.
Chuck, let me just say this. I'm going to jump right to the punchline. I have heard Hillary Clinton say over and over again when I've been sitting next to her and when I've watched her on TV that with respect to the emails, I made a mistake and I've learned something and I wouldn't do it again. And I've heard her apologize.
Okay, hold on. He said, let me jump to the punchline? Well, because this is a joke?
Okay, there's a really interesting nuance going on here. Yeah, the joke, the punchline thing, bad choice of words because it's not a joke.
A punchline is a joke.
Right. So he shouldn't have said that. But here, the question was, did she lie to the public?
Correct.
But more specifically, did she lie to the public about whether or not she sent and received classified emails? Should she break the law Did she do anything illegal? He's saying that she feels bad that she used a private server.
She told me she was sorry.
So she does. We're changing the subject here.
Bad judgment. She said it was bad judgment. She wouldn't do it again.
But what bad judgment to do illegal activity?
No. It's just a private server thing.
Oh yeah. So he's kind of. It's very nuanced. But so he actually changed the answer. He's not answering the actual question.
No, he's answering the question he wished he would have been asked.
Right.
However, he didn't get the memo.
All right, let's.
I did hear that back and forth, and I think Chris Wallace and Hillary were sort of talking past each other last week. She was saying what Director Comey acknowledged to be true, that when she spoke to the FBI, when she was talking to the FBI thought her answers in that setting were truthful.
Did you hear what he said?
I did. Oh, my God.
That's hilarious. Look, when Hillary Clinton is talking to people, it's clear that they think that she's telling the truth.
See, she's got because she's a robot, and I have a Bluetooth and an app on my phone. The app on my phone has a meter. It's a lyometer.
Okay.
And it will detect, because of her robot signal, whether it's a lie or not.
Okay.
And so as I look at my phone and she's speaking, sound is coming out of her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
My meter says, does not register on the lyometer. So she's got to be telling the truth.
Oh, I'm thinking that the FBI's lyometer is broken.
It's solar powered, and somebody left it in their drawer in the office for like weeks.
I find it funny that he just says all he said is that the FBI thought she was telling. He's literally leaving an opening for them to come back and say, "Oh, remember when we said we thought she was telling the truth? Turns out she was totally lying to us, and we have proof." He could say, "Well, I said what was the fact." They thought she was telling the truth at the time. It's kind of like her question, Mrs. Clinton, did you are you a truthful person? Oh, I try to be. I try to be as truthful as I'm allowed to be. Anyway, wow. So what's the rest of it?
Chris might have been asking her a different question, but the bottom line is this. She made a mistake, and she said over and over again, I made a mistake, and I've learned from it, and I'm going to fix it, and I apologize for it.
You know, in fact, in an interview the other day, you said she told you she's going to do it differently. What does that mean? Ooh. Are you guys going to be more transparent? What does that mean?
It's the same thing that she has said. Look, knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have done the private server in that way. She said it was a mistake. I am not presumptuous enough to start thinking about how I'm going to do things after November. But I know that this is something that
he's literally saying
she's learned.
I'm not presumptuous enough to believe that I'm going to be vice president. He just said.
I interpret that a little differently.
Okay.
I interpret it like this. Look, we were being as honest as we can, and we acknowledge now that in hindsight it was a mistake to use a private server. And we know now that if we could go back in time, we would have not done it that way. However, I'm not going to presume that we're not going to be even worse after we become president.
How dare you expect me to presume that I'm going to be worse? I just told you I'm sorry. Okay. I mean, can't we just... Hillary told me that we're supposed to get by this and get over it. Hillary told me we're supposed to move on.
Okay, so let me... a lot of people don't like to do this. I'm like one of the few weirdos that like to do this. Whenever people use certain words that actually you hear often, but sometimes there's some ambiguity as to how people are using the word based on what its actual definition is and how that may differ from how they're actually using the word. So I decided, let's just get the actual definition of presumptuous. And then it kind of makes you laugh when you think of him using it in this way. So he doesn't want to be presumptuous about whether or not they're going to do that after they get elected, assuming he thinks they're going to get elected. So the definition of presumptuous is failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or appropriate.
Wow.
So he's literally saying, look, I don't want to fail to observe the limits of what is permitted or presumptuous about what we're going to do after the election.
Did he just slip and use the wrong word?
He either didn't. I like to think that he knew exactly what it meant, and it makes it sound kind of funny. That
somebody needs to take him to the woodshed and let him know.
No, because nobody's going to look it up like I just did.
Oh, all right.
And to be honest with you, he probably doesn't really know what the actual definition is anyway, and he just wants to say, look, I don't want to prejudge how we're going to behave once we get in office, but clearly whatever you think we were going to do is going to be the opposite because we're going to break every law possible.
Well, you know, I mean, what Hillary told me.
She's going to be the first woman president, which means any kind of action she does that would garner any kind of criticism is going to be laughed at because nobody's going to punish the first woman president. And we saw that. The precedent's been set by the first black president, and that's why he's been able to be so lawless because nobody's going to punish a black president.
No, of course not, and certainly not the
or
first.
Even take any action against him, including simple verbal criticism.
Right, and certainly not the first female.
Oh, then it'll look misogynistic.
That would just be just way out of bounds.
So we have 20 minutes left. We want to make sure we get to all the subjects.
Yeah, I was looking for that one clip where she's questioned about truthfulness. That's just insanity. Trump put out an ad this week that said, could you imagine if I went 241 days without a press conference?
It's interesting. I think Clinton, and the truth is she's gone 200 plus days, 250, 240 days without a press conference. I think what's happening here is that they are running off of the Obama model, which is just say really vague platitudes and let everybody else fill in the blank. And in Hillary's, now at least in Obama's case, he could speak, and there were a lot of people that said, oh my gosh, he's so smart, he's so awesome, and whatever. Okay, that's not the case with Hillary. It's not the case.
No.
In Hillary's case, when she speaks, everybody's like, is that somebody with a steak knife on fine china right. grinding away on it?
Oh,
so her words are just, they're very grating. So they're trying to pull off the same thing they did with Obama by not speaking in vague platitudes, but instead avoiding the public altogether. And in turn, what happens is
you know, in 76, Jimmy Carter famously said, I will not lie to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to tell you, I have tried in every way I know how, literally from my years as a young lawyer all the way through my time as Secretary of State to.
Oh, by the way, years as a young lawyer, she was kicked out of a law firm because she was a liar. She literally was fired from law firm.
She's a sociopath.
Level with the American people.
You talk about leveling with the American people. Have you always told the truth?
I've always tried to.
2 times
always.
She said tried.
Always.
2 times.
Some people are going to call that wiggle room that you just gave yourself.
Well, no,
always tried to.
No,
I mean,
always
Jimmy Carter said, I will never lie to you.
You know, you're asking me to say, have I ever? I don't believe I ever have.
I don't believe.
I don't believe I ever have. I don't believe I ever will. I'm going to do the best I can to level with the American people.
Dude, that's just like there's something really wrong with that.
Why is it impossible for her to say, I will level with the American people. I will be honest.
I tried.
She 2 times in a row she said, I've tried to be honest. I tried to level with the people. Oh, it sounds like you left yourself some wiggle room there. And then she went from try to believe. I believe I've been as honest as I tried to be. I tried to believe that I was honest.
It's just amazing. Here's the truth dog version.
You talk about leveling with the American people. Have you always told the truth?
I've always tried to.
Always. See, every time she talks, he throws in her dog bark.
Well, because that's a dog whistle.
Yes. So every bit of what she said was just awful lie. And like I said, Trump said, could you imagine Trump not giving a presser in 241 days when the ad came out this week. So like you said, it's probably 245, 247.
Yeah, probably 240 or so.
Okay. What if Trump didn't address the media in almost a year?
Oh, well, they would have done to Trump what they successfully done. It took them 5 years, but they made it happen. What the press did to Bush. And it was hard to do with Bush. Bush was presiding over the response to 9/11. The country rallied around him.
Right.
They were relieved. I remember being extremely relieved when he decided on a very aggressive military response to Afghanistan. And they were, people were still looking for blood. They were looking for red meat in response to 9/11. So when he went to Iraq, it was kind of mixed results, but it was that the left started to try to destroy America through Bush. And it took him 5 years, but probably less than 5 years, because 5 years was the totality of the rest of his.
Right.
But within about 2-3 years, they were very successful. They drove his poll numbers through the floor, and for like the last 2 years of his presidency, he was like in the 20% range for approval. I don't know. It was really low. It was like maybe 30s. It was really, really, really low. But they were able to pull that off because he went into hiding. He didn't come out and talk at all.
He and Dick Cheney and some others said, okay, here's how we're going to deal with this. We're not going to say a thing.
We're going to address it. We're going to stay above the fray.
Yeah, we're going to go above. We're going to take the high road. And then he was asked, in hindsight, do you think that was correct? And he's like, in hindsight, no, maybe we should have done something.
I believe I concur on that. I try to concur whenever I can to the American people.
Right. Because I believe I'm concurring right now.
Right. So that being said, Trump just has a following, but he doesn't have that riveting thing with like Bush had with the 9/11 and all that kind of stuff. So it would take a lot shorter time than it did with Bush. Plus, Bush being the president of the United States, there's a certain amount of patriotism in American people, in a percentage of them, that it doesn't matter what you do. They're going to be like, well, I stand by my president because I'm patriotic. Trump's not president yet.
No.
So when the media starts to try to tear at him like they did Bush, there's not even that whole patriotic, he's president, I got to rally around, I got to respect the office.
Right.
There is none of that with Trump.
No.
So 200 and some odd days without a press conference, the media will have effectively destroyed him. They actually did a pretty good job this week because for whatever reason he kind of took off a couple days.
Well, and that's something I think it was well overdue. Regroup.
Yeah.
Get back to the basics.
Right.
Something else that Trump Fan Network, they dug up a
that's on Facebook, right?
Yeah,
okay.
they dug up a commercial, an advertisement that Obama put out in 2008. And this one is it says Obama, and it gets into the opinion of Obama on Hillary.
Hillary Clinton will say anything to get elected.
Senator Clinton, gave a number of different answers over the course of 6 weeks on this issue, and that.
Oh my God! Look at Obama. He looks like a child.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. He looks pretty young there.
Did appear political. Now, at this point, she's got a clear position. But it took a while. I was confused on Senator Clinton's answer. I can't tell whether she was for it or against it. The first time that people start challenging her point of view, that suddenly she backs off and says, don't pick on me. I was working on those streets, watching those folks see their jobs shipped overseas. You were a corporate lawyer sitting on the board of Walmart. Said you can't just wave a magic wand and expect special interests to go away. That is absolutely true, but it doesn't help if you're taking millions of dollars of contributions from those special interests.
Boom.
They are less likely to go away.
You're likable enough.
Thank you so much.
How she values the Second Amendment, she's talking like she's Annie Oakley.
Your husband is.
Well, I'm here. He's not.
Okay, well, I can't tell who I'm running against sometimes.
She knows better. Shame on her. The most important thing when you answer that phone call at 3 in the morning is what kind of judgment do you have?
You go back to bed.
Not how long you've been in Washington. This is part of what got her upset.
Hillary Clinton, she'll say anything and change nothing.
maybe she could have handled
fast forward
the original decision better and the disclosures more quickly. But part of leadership is not just looking backwards and seeing what's popular or trying to gauge popular sentiment. It's about setting a direction for the country.
That's from the words of Obama.
Yeah. I hope they use that in a lot of
well, they've been saying
ads.
that tagline, she'll say anything and change nothing, that has stuck. And Trump has used that over and over.
Bernie fans are
were they using that?
Well, you'll hear it in interviews. And it's not just Bernie people. Trump people are like this too. They're sick and tired of these politicians who keep saying what they're going to do and then nothing happens. That's why they're rallying. Conservatives are rallying around Trump. That's why liberals and communists and progressives are rallying around people like Bernie Sanders. And now that Bernie Sanders is gone, they're just shooting for the fences, going after Jill Stein. And I'm all for it. Vote for Jill Stein. There's also Bernie Sanders people that are going for Governor Johnson, which is hilarious.
Breitbart had an article this week that said Hillary's new headache, third party Johnson.
I've been saying this for weeks and weeks. Guys, let me explain something to you about these polls. This is absolutely critical. You've got to hear me out. This is not a Ross Perot situation. This is not... don't think for a second that because Gary Johnson is somebody that cruise people and hard right conservatives tend to kind of like because he's a libertarian guy, he's very conservative, or at least that's what their conservatives are saying. His numbers are... Okay, two things. Number one, Trump's base is not going anywhere.
No, it's getting stronger, if you will. It really is.
Well, let's just say it's not. There is...
Say it stays plateaued right here and doesn't grow.
Well, there's at least 30 to 40%. I'll say 35. Let's just cut right through the middle. 35% of the entire United States, the voting public in America, that are so loyal to Trump. They're not going anywhere. It's about a third of the entire country, right? Then there's another 15% or so, or maybe 10%. I'll say 10% of people that like Trump, they could vote for Trump, but they're still on the fence and they flip-flop all over the place, okay? And then you got your cruise people who are like, I'm never going to vote for Trump, okay? They're for Johnson, all right? And that's a problem, right? Because they should be voting for Trump. However, where Johnson's really getting big numbers from is Democrats who do not want to vote for Hillary. There's so many people who are like, I can never vote for such an evil criminal, somebody who is clearly a criminal. There's also this new constituency, thanks to people like Mike Cernovich, who are like, wow, she has brain damage. We can't have a brain damaged person in office, right?
Right.
They're going to vote for either Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. When you look at a head-to-head matchup, polling between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, it's very, very, very close, right?
Correct.
You throw in Johnson and Stein, and it's a landslide for Trump.
I see that clearly. Absolutely.
And it's because Johnson's numbers are coming more from the there's two people that come from. Number one, you got your never Trump people. They're conservatives. They should be voting Republican, but they hate Trump so much they're willing to throw away the entire Constitution in order to avoid voting for Trump. They're voting for Johnson.
They're brain dead.
They are brain dead. We are not losing any voters when the never Trumpers vote for Johnson. It hurts us that they're not voting for Trump, that they're not willing to save the Constitution from communists.
However, it's better than them sitting at home doing nothing. I would throw that out there. I'd rather them vote for Johnson than stay home and not vote for anybody.
Yeah,
because I think them voting for Johnson hurts Hillary.
Right, and if you really believe in the libertarian movement, it looks nice if Johnson ends up getting 15%. Here's another key. This will blow your mind. This will blow your mind. Did you know that Hillary and Hillary supporters and Democrats in general are now making a big push to get Johnson in the debates?
What?
And there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this could be a disaster for Trump. Bring it on.
There is nobody. I'm telling you, folks.
Trump's not going to lose his constituents.
He's quick on his feet. He's sharp as attack. He's been Deanna, one of our followers on Smith Radio on Smith Radio. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal. Thank you so much, Deanna. I almost forgot about this. But Trump has been doing multiple shows.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yep.
Every day, every week. And the crowds that he's attracting, the media refuses to show any footage or talk about any. Did you hear about Florida this week?
No. What's up with Florida?
He had a little rally, little rally there.
Okay, I heard it. He was in Florida.
Yeah, had a couple people show up. Little couple people. They brought some friends.
Okay,
you're like network marketing. One friend brought two, and two brought two more.
You can bring yourself, or you can bring two of your friends, and tell those two friends bring two friends.
And that's kind of how this went down. Wound up to be, the venue only held 15,000.
That's a lot. Okay. 15,000 is a lot.
They had to shut the doors because they had 15,000. And then reports were they had another 3,000 on the floor. So they were 18,000. Fire marshal possibly shut down. Too many people.
Fire marshal was getting nervous.
Possibly too many people. Had shut down.
I was shocked. I honestly thought that Trump was pulling our leg when we were in Cincinnati. You didn't go to this one, Brian. I was there. The whole entire room was filled. And he said, for all y'all in the overflow room, in the two overflow rooms, I'm going to be over there as soon as this rally's over there. I'm going to make sure I shake your guys' hands and greet you all. I thought he was pulling my leg. I said, I didn't see no overflow room. I thought he was saying that for the cameras. Turns out, I went home and watched the footage, and he went into a room that I didn't even know existed at the convention center, and it was chock full wall-to-wall of bodies, and he went over there and greeted them. I thought he was pulling. It's true. He has full overflow rooms that he has to go into. They live stream or televise into the overflow rooms, and then he goes and meets them personally. I'm blown away. I'm blown away.
What Lou Dobbs this week? I love Lou. Lou Dobbs this week
is awesome.
Had a little something to talk about this.
The mainstream liberal media refusing to acknowledge the large, massive crowds that Donald Trump draws to his rallies, and the relatively modest crowds that Hillary Clinton draws. Trump's event yesterday in Jacksonville, Florida, attracted more than 10,000 supporters. One estimate had it at 15,000. At a town hall today in Portland, Maine, Trump talked to a full house of an estimated 3,000 people.
3,000.
Now compare that to Hillary Clinton in Las Vegas today, talking to just over 1,000 people.
No.
That's down from yesterday's 3,000 supporters in Colorado. Wow. He consistently outdraws Hillary Clinton everywhere he goes. The national liberal media doesn't want to report it.
Completely silent. And the town hall event's the one that I went to up here in Mason.
Yeah.
That was a small venue.
You were in Westchester.
Yeah, Westchester. Like you
told me about it. You showed me pictures.
Yeah.
Very small.
You physically could not. I walked the whole thing laying Trump signs on every single seat by myself. I had a stack of Trump signs, and I laid them on every single seat.
And you were
by
able to
myself.
do that. Yeah.
There was nobody else there.
Yeah, 15,000. You're not doing that.
No.
Now, I will tell you this for everybody listening. I'm going to pledge to try to figure out how to either get a ticket or get access to it. Shouldn't be that hard. It's probably open to whoever. I'm going to go to a Clinton rally, and I'm going to take pictures.
Periscope that thing.
I'm going to Periscope it. I want everybody, and I'm going to report it really thoroughly. I want everybody to know exactly what's going on at these damn things, because the mainstream media is certainly not reporting it.
No.
But I'm going to have to be careful because I don't want to lead anybody on to think that I am that I'm an operative. But I pledge to do that. Next time it comes to town or near, if it's within 50 miles, I'll go.
Well, I mean, she's supposed to come to Cincinnati.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. I mean,
Hamilton County's key.
Cincinnati
We're in Hamilton County. Hamilton County is the swing county, the swing state of the entire country.
What?
We elect our little county of what? About 1 million.
Swing county?
Yeah, we swing.
Oh my goodness!
We swing both ways. Sometimes we're whoever.
Sometimes we're blue. Sometimes we're red.
Yeah, whoever Hamilton County goes for is who we end up having as president. So, she'll be here a lot. Hamilton County, Trump will be here a lot. But I'm going to go to an event, And I want to report to you guys what the heck I see. And I'll be honest. If she has a lot of numbers, I'll be honest and I'll tell you guys. And you guys could hear what's really up.
Just a little over 800,000 population.
Oh, okay.
Hamilton County, 800,000.
The whole county?
That's what it's saying.
Okay, so the million comes from northern Kentucky is considered part of the greater Cincinnati area, also southeast.
It was
Indiana.
up. It was up and has dipped in recent years. It might have been closer to a mill back in the 80s and 90s, but recently here since 2010, it's taken a big dip.
Okay. Anything else going on?
Yeah, that one video. Did you see that video that they video? I'm thinking it's a Miss Pac-Man video game, but the Miss Pac-Man is Hillary Clinton's head.
Okay.
And all the dots that Miss Pac-Man would eat are little envelopes that look like emails. Yeah, with the E sign. Yeah, with the E sign on it.
Oh, man.
And all the ghosts are cops. And they chase her around to catch her.
And she's just gobbling up emails.
Yeah, she's just gobbling them up. Gobbledygook. Gobbling them all up. We talked about national polls. Then obviously Clinton's headaches.
Well, the big thing this week that we wanted to get out in this, I mean, it looked like a really tough week for Trump. It turns out it's not a bad week for him. It was all smoke and mirrors. The whole thing. The polls were fake. All the manufactured stories that looked like they were anti-Trump were all fake. And suddenly, out of the blue, the truth comes out. He's fine. The poll numbers are fine. And it's going to be off to the races from here on out. And big thing is, I can't wait to see what happens with the primary on Tuesday.
Right.
Wisconsin primary.
Definitely.
That should be very interesting.
Trump,
and the aftermath of that will be interesting.
Right. Trump actually, I forgot about this article. Trump actually met with 7 Gold Star family members. Gold Star family member is someone your son or daughter had died in
right. If you're a parent of somebody who fell in combat.
So your Gold Star mom,
Okay.
Gold Star dad. So Trump met with 7 of them. And out of those 7, Greta Van Susteren interviewed one mother, and it was just nothing but positives
About Trump.
About Trump.
Don't let these people on Twitter, these liberals, these anti-Trump people, whoever they might be, trick you and lie to you that the veterans are going to be for anybody other than Trump.
Oh, and that was another thing. Hillary Clinton came out with her economic plan or her tax plan. They put it to the test, and they looked it over. And they said Hillary comes up with $2.2 trillion short in paying for her policy agenda, despite hiking taxes by $1.3 trillion.
It's ridiculous.
FoxNews.com.
Yeah, they're going to bankrupt America if she comes in. I mean, Obama tried to. And I think that, my dad, he's a little bit, a little bit of a negative person sometimes. He says we've already fallen off the cliff. We just haven't died yet. We are in midair, going down.
Right.
We're going to splat on the ground. There's no surviving. And if you feel like, well, we're not dead. What are you talking about? That's because we haven't hit the bottom yet. That's what my dad says. But I think that we can come back from it. I think we can.
Okay, so there was a mural that was painted on the side of a building in Melbourne, Australia.
I saw that, yeah.
It's Hillary Clinton in a really scantily clad, nasty bikini. Stars and stripes, and then
lots of skin showing, but it's painted.
It's painted on the wall.
It's like
right.
a painting,
and with money stuck in her side in her bathing suit.
Right.
And so apparently, locals complained about it so much, the city forced him to remove it or change it or something.
And what he did next will shock you.
After 4 hours and 55 minutes, at the very end, will shock you. So apparently he took black spray paint and spray painted Hillary Clinton in a complete head to toe burqa.
Yeah.
And all it showed was her eyes.
Right.
And he wrote down at the bottom, something to the effect
if
of
this offends you, you're a racist, bigot, Islamophobe.
Right. But apparently Hillary in a bikini is okay, or not okay, but
I think that if you're forced to get rid of it, that was the best way to do it. Just to really make a statement.
Oh, no, absolutely. It was just
no freedom of speech left in America, folks. And you know what? Your Second Amendment, our First Amendment's gone, flat out. No freedom of speech, no freedom of religion. And next is Second Amendment.
Right. Lou Dobbs reported this week on the Obama administration trying to trying to sway the federal judges from allowing illegals to go ahead and vote. It's just a backdoor thing that's nobody's talking about. Oh, folks, fast 3 hours you will spend anywhere. Invite your friends and your family. Sit down around the computer and the speakers. Enjoy yourself and listen to Smith Radio. We are all over the place for you. Have a good week, folks. See ya.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.